evening, high school football fans, and we welcome you one and all into the press box in the Marvin Wilhelm Athletic Complex here in Oxford, Ohio. It's week one of Ohio high school football between the Carroll Patriots and the Talawanda Brave. Joel Sackenheim, glad to have you here with us, and I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, one of my very best friends in the entire world, as well as my dentist and my first cousin once removed, Dr. Dan Vogt. Dan, we get 6 games together this year. How about it?
It's going to be fun, Joel. I'm looking forward to it.
Now, I know Talawanda is the Butler County team. We'll talk about them in a second. Let's talk about the visitors coming in here, the Carroll Patriots, a team that you and I both know pretty decently from watching Baden all those years from the GCL. Let's look at what Carroll's going to do to build on a 4-6 record from last year.
We spoke with Carroll's head coach before the game, obviously, and he has a diversified offense. He basically said, whatever the defense gives us, we are going to go after. So he said he can run the ball well, and he can spread it out and throw it. So looks like it's going to be interesting.
And certainly spreading it out and throwing it, they hadn't taken a lot of that last year with their quarterback and passing game. They had, 4 receivers that were in the top 10 in the GCL?
Yes, we're getting ready for the national anthem
here.
Oh,
we got the anthem coming up. We don't want to miss that here. It was the Talawanda Marching Band there playing the National Anthem, Star Spangled Banner here. The band is going to be behind the end zone tonight, Dan. They're not going to be in the stands from the student section where they normally would be. We're going to be talking through the broadcast about all the different COVID regulations and things that everybody, including Wes Cole, the athletic director at Talawanda, has had to do to get this place, Marvin Wilhelm Athletic Complex, ready for this game. So the home team, the Talawanda Brave, they hired a new coach last year, Larry Cox, came over from Lakota West. They end up with a record of 7-3 after going 5-35 in the previous 4 seasons. Larry Cox has got a running back he wants to lean on here. Dan, tell us about him.
Yes, Larry Cox, running back. DeAndre Bothus Reveille, excellent running back last year, 136 carries, 991 yards, which is a whopping 7.3 average.
That's a lot. 7.3 average?
Yes, and 16 touchdowns last
16
year.
touchdowns. So they're going to be handing the ball off to him early and often.
Yes.
Big wins for Talawanda last year. They ended up knocking off the Baden Rams. I think that's the only time that Larry Cox has ever coached against and probably will ever coach against his high school alma mater.
And that Baden Rams loss last year, that was early in the season, as we know, and that was a springboard for Baden to move on, change their offensive format, and move on, and obviously have a successful
into
year.
A spread offense. It was a big springboard for Talawanda as well.
Yes, it was.
I mean, 7-3 season in Larry Cox's first year. I'm sure there were a lot of Talawanda fans that would thought we would be looking through rose-colored glasses if we had that type of prognosis for the Brave and Cox's maiden voyage at the helm.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So we'll see how this goes during a pandemic. My goodness. We have an interview that was recorded by Chris Vogt earlier on. We're going to play this for you. He got a hold of the stud running back DeAndre Bothus Reveille, as well as Coach Larry Cox. So we're going to chat about both of those right here momentarily.
It feels really great, after that long break, just being with the team right now. That's really all I want, and we're getting better together. So I really like that. I just miss being with the team. Right now we have game 1 in our mind. We play Monroe. That's what we got. We have 80-something days left of game 1, so we're just getting ready, trying to get better each week, You know, we're watching film on them at home and stuff like that, just trying to get better right now. So we still, in our hope, we still have game one. We're still going to play a football season, so that's what we're.
It's so exciting to be able to get with the kids. We started on June 1st, and you know, that night I was like, okay, what's it going to be like? And you know, well, first off, you've been sleeping in for so long, and so that's a change. But it's so good to see their faces and to hear them talk about how much fun they're having, and they're working their tails off. And as I always said, I told the kids, you find out who the pretenders were and you find out who the contenders were, because you know, I said the lion stops now, because we gave the kids at-home workouts to do, and for the most part I think the kids were doing it. But you know, you're always going to have a few kids that you know, maybe try to, you know, shortchange it or not complete it all. But for the most part, our kids are in great shape and doing a great job. I'm really happy with where our fitness levels are right now. I think what it does this year is to show, all right, because it's everybody talked, hey, you lose all those seniors. You had a great group of seniors, and we did. What a great group, what a great class. But as I tell them, great programs have great senior classes every year. That's not going to change. So it's up to that next group to, you know, take that yoke of leadership and say, okay, we want to make this important. Right. We still, you know, we want to make it our statement about our class as we leave. So I think, you know, that's the interesting part, where you're sort of, for lack of a better term, starting over right now. Right. Because, you know, you missing that time, that's when we do a lot of, you know, leadership type stuff with our kids so they can buy in for the summer. Where now we're sort of having to combine those two things and slowly ease back into it.
And we're back here in Oxford, Ohio, getting ready for kickoff here of Carroll and Talawanda. A very bizarre scene. And Dan, you were pointing this out earlier, looking at that banner down there in the field.
Yes, it's senior night here for Talawanda. And obviously with the pandemic, I think they want to make sure that they have a proper senior night.
They want to make sure they have a senior night, because honestly, we're going kind of week to week. And Coach Bird of Carroll was even saying that. We asked him, what's the goal for this season? He said, earn another game. And
yes,
normally that means a playoffs, you got to win. Here it means you got to avoid having a COVID outbreak amongst your locker room if you want to make sure you keep going. There's been several games that have been canceled or postponed tonight.
Yes.
We know, and of course we don't have all the details on exactly what's going on with New Miami. They were scheduled to play North College Hill. That game is not happening tonight. Fenwick was supposed to play Edgewood. That game ended up not happening. And Edgewood then went ahead.
Yeah, Edgewood had Winton Woods added to their schedule.
They snatched Winton Woods, and there's going to be a lot of this going on, I think, all year long, where ADs in the age of social media are going to be hopping on Twitter saying, who else needs a game this week? Our opponent just canceled on us 24 hours before the game started.
And I am going to apologize in advance and tell you that if I call them the Talawanda Braves with an S on it, it's just an old school mentality that I have. But they are the Brave.
Yes, you and me both. So we'll take a little step away here as the teams are getting ready. Folks, we didn't know we'd ever make it to this moment, did we? But we are here. We are in a press box, two men wearing headsets, looking down on the field at two high school football teams getting ready to kick this thing off in the middle of a global pandemic. It's the Carroll Patriots and the Talawanda Brave coming up next on the Butler County High School Sports Report Radio Network.
We thank you for listening to a live broadcast on the Butler County High School Sports Report's YouTube channel. We encourage you to check out our website at www.bchssreport.com for all your local prep sports results, stories, and student-athlete features. Enjoy the rest of the game.
Hey, this is Talawanda's DeAndre Vilfist Reveille, and you're listening to the Butler County High School Sports Reports Radio Network.
Thank you, DeAndre. And yes, Dan and I are back here. Joe Sackenheim, Dan Vogt, as we have Talawanda's Matt June getting ready to kick things off for the Brave. David Ferguson lined up deep for the Patriots alongside Ethan Braun, who is one of the captains for Carroll. Kicker makes the charge, and up the ball goes, and it's going over to Braun, and the ball goes out of bounds. We have our first penalty flag of the season. Looks like it went out of bounds right around the 4-yard line, but this is not a punt, Dan. This is going to be a penalty, a legal procedure on correct. The Talawanda Brave. So Carroll's going to bring their offense onto the field. That's a 40-yard line in the NFL, but I believe it's the 35 for high school.
It is the 35.
Or they would have the option of having them re-kick it from 5 yards farther back, and it looks like Cody Bird is not going to take that option. So out come the Carroll Patriots offense, the gentlemen who reside at Woodman and Linden Avenues up there in the Dayton-Beaver Creek area. And it's going to be the quarterback, the sophomore quarterback, Ryan Chapman, getting things going. He's number 12 for Carroll. He's got a brother that's on the outside. He's at the very bottom of the press box here, Stephen Chapman. Spread formation. 3 wide receivers and a running back in motion. They swing it over to the running back. That's Braun. Braun's up. He's got about 7 yards on the swing pass and run. See you get the tackle there, Dan?
Yes, number 32 for
Talawanda, that'd be what, Zach Flannery?
Zach Flannery, thank you.
I know, we're getting used to juggling the rosters and everything else here. This is my first game doing play-by-play, which is super exciting after all these years. Dan, this is your first game ever on an internet radio broadcast, so he'll be picking up the ropes as we go.
Yes, sir.
Carroll going from left to right on your internet screen. The shotgun snap and the handoff goes up the middle. That's to number 23. That's Caden Caudill, who's got enough for the first down up to the 48-yard line of Carroll. All right, so we got 1st and 10 Patriots. The Patriots wearing their road white jerseys, blue numbers with red trim, white pants, blue and red stripe down the side of them. The logo on the helmet would be that kind of script C. Looks like an older Cincinnati Reds circa, what, 1930s era?
Yes.
And now we got Ryan Chapman back behind the shotgun. Again, Caden Caudill is there next to him. This almost looks like a pistol. Running back a hair behind him, and it's again a handoff up the middle. And this is going to go for only 3 yards. And it's going to be 2nd down and 7 as he's down by contact. Who grabbed that for Talawanda?
Number 23.
That's DJ Morris Williams.
That is correct.
Absolutely. Dan, Talawanda does not have blue on.
Yes.
What do they got going on, Fashion Police?
Oh, they're all white. It's kind of old school.
Kind of gray.
Kind of grayish white. Yes, sir.
Gray enough that you can tell the difference, certainly. Talawanda, 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers in there. That's probably why Coach Bird has been running the ball up the middle here. And again, another handoff, it looks like, to number 23. That would be Caden Caudill, and he's tackled in the backfield. Who got him for Talawanda?
Matt June.
Matt June, the kicker. He's all plays defensive back there.
He's a tough kicker.
He's a tough kicker. High school football, where they're not all completely specialized and they can be out here. This ain't bad. We got a 3rd down and 10 there as they lost all that they had previously gained on the previous run up the middle here. Obvious passing situation for the Patriots here. Stephen Chapman goes up now to the top, the Carroll sideline, visiting sideline here. We have, looks like 2 wide receivers to the top of the formation, 2 to the bottom of the formation, and again, the running back Caudill there next to Ryan Chapman, the sophomore quarterback making his first start, I believe. A slant pattern is dropped. Pass was made to Sam Sievert, one of the captains. He was hit hard by Talawanda.
Grady Holmes.
Grady Holmes.
Breaking it up. Tight end and defensive back. He's a senior.
He's a senior on senior night, and he made a big stick there for the Brave, and that's going to get the ball back to Talawanda for their first offensive possession of the year. It looks like that Stephen Chapman, the senior wideout, is also the punter for the Patriots. Carroll had a 4-6 year under Cody Bird last year. This is his 2nd year at the helm. They beat Alter.
Yes, they
Everyone
did.
talks about Baden having a huge win over Alter for the first time since 1999. Carroll beat him for the first time.
Joel, we just had a false start there, sir.
We got a false start on the play.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's going to be a 5-yard penalty. And we're going to back this thing back to the 43-yard line here, as Carroll will still be, of course, in punt formation with a 4th and 15 coming up. 9:42 remaining in the first quarter of play here in week 1 of high school football coverage. Joel Sackenheim, Dan Vogt, pleased to have you here with us from Oxford.
Back to receive the kick, Ian Janikowski and A.J. Wolf-Smith.
All right, high hang time on this, a lot of coverage. And it's going to take a Carroll hop, and it's going to bounce down dead around the 20-yard line or so, maybe the 19-yard line, as that is downed by the Carroll gunman, Ian Jankowski. So we've taken 2.5 minutes off the clock. No score here as Talawanda takes the field for Coach Larry Cox. And we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Joey Vogt for The Report. One thing we strive to do here at The Report is recognize the local high school student athletes and their accomplishments to the best of our abilities, which is the reason why we partnered up with Performance Toyota and Rick's Tavern to crown a Performer of the Week. We choose a student athlete from each of our coverage area schools from
We're back here. Looking good. We got a power formation. We got a toss sweep. That's our guy, the running back, Vogt off the right tackle there for about a 7-yard gain before he's met by a group of militiamen Patriots. Danny, a power T.
Yes. Very old school, very Terry Malone-like.
You got a 7-man offensive line, double tight end on either side, a fullback directly behind the quarterback, and 2 halfbacks or tailbacks maybe a little off center there.
Yes.
And it looks like here they're going to come out and they're going to
have
two backfield set. Put an H-back there off to the left side of the line. Still no wideouts yet. A little toss sweep here to one of the up guys. And that would be Austin Hearst, who looks like he has enough rumbling for the first down.
Tackled by Gage Plasenthal.
Playing defense against this type of a running game here, what are the keys, Dan, defensively?
I think you have to crowd the line and don't get dominated at the line of scrimmage.
So much depends on the line of scrimmage. Well, your son Nick was a line of scrimmage guy, right?
Yes, he was in his short career.
Oh, my gosh. So back to the huddle goes Braden Wright, the senior quarterback for the Brave.
They're back in the wing T again.
Power T formation for Wright. Takes the snap, hands it left off tackle.
There he goes. First
That's
down.
a nice stumble and run there. That's once again Austin Hearst with the ball carrier there for Talawanda.
That's a 14-yard run there. That's impressive.
He stumbled and bumbled. Austin Hearst is 5'11", 195, but he's got a kind of sturdy, stocky bowling ball type build there as he kind of rumbles.
Looks like a short fullback.
Bit of a Mike Allstott, really.
Very good analogy. The old Tampa Bay Buck.
Yeah, we talked about Leroy Horde earlier off air. Everybody reminds you of Leroy Horde, but this is really more of an Allstott type of guy, it looked like.
Yes, he is.
That was carrying that in between the right guard and the right tackle there. The left guard and left tackle. We got 1st and 10 for Talawanda. They are at their own 47-yard line, quickly approaching midfield. H-back to the right side of the line. Toss sweep to number 24. That's Bothus Reveille, and he's got another 11 or 12 yards off the right tackle there, and Carroll is having all kinds of issues stopping this Talawanda running game on the first drive.
And that was Ian Jankowski with the tackle again. We're hearing his name a lot early here.
Ian Jankowski's been all over the place with Carroll. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. First down for the Talawanda Brave. And as Dan had mentioned earlier, I'm going to also apologize because I know at some point in time I'm going to slip up and say Braves here. We were talking to Talawanda's athletic director earlier before the game, Wes Cole, and it was November of 2018 when the school board decided to drop the S off the name and change from a noun to an adjective. And we'll talk more about that here as we're getting ready to line up. The center actually brought the ball up to the line of scrimmage. I don't think I've ever seen that.
That was unusual.
7-man offensive line, Braden Wright behind the center. And we've got a whistle. This will probably be a delay of game. Let's see what happens here. Yes, it is. The back judge is the one that called that. He's responsible for the play clock. We're not keeping the play clock here on the field, and so he's got to count it up and put his hand up in the air when you got 5 seconds left to go for the play clock. Braden Wright didn't see that. They were slow getting out of the huddle there, and so it's going to be 1st down and 15 now for the Brave. Braden Wright comes up under center. Once again, power T formation. They want to keep this thing on the ground, as you can see the game plan for Coach Larry Cox's boys. And Wright kept it. A little fake there. I don't know that that was a play design, but he's going to be stopped.
Joel, that was a broken play. Tackled by Braden.
Braden Wright was the runner. Carroll's guy was same number, right?
Yeah, Stephen Chapman.
Stephen Chapman, number 9. Number 9.
Number 9 tackled number 9 on the play.
Thank you, Beatles White Album.
Yes, nice reference there, Joel.
Yeah, they made wild honey pie out of him there from that tackle there. That play was basically about as busted as some of that psychedelic rock there in the 60s, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, Braden right there got a little talking to from Coach Cox, and he's back in the huddle now calling the next play for the Brave. Apparently there was a student-led movement to try to give a bit of a noun to the team name. They're getting ready to present before the school board, possibly the Titans, possibly whoever else they might think of.
I like Talawanda Titans.
It would
It
be
rolls off the
interesting.
tongue, doesn't it?
Yeah, inside trap to Reveille. That would be
Reveille again, yes.
Bothist Reveille, and he's got a few yards there. That's not a bad little game, but it's going to leave a lot of meat on the bone there. Still 3rd down and 11.
Interesting at 3rd and 11. We'll see if they come out in the power T or not. I would think they might finally have to spread it out here, Joel.
Harder to pass out of that formation, I remember.
Yes.
I mean, the power T, that's what we used to run for Billy Cox, Larry's brother, back when I was in 6th grade for CYO. Billy had the most perfect haircut you've ever seen in your life, a flat top from the 50s. Always spoke with this low voice.
And Larry Cox also
Billy
has
Cox, yes. So here comes Wright to take the snap. They still don't have any wide receivers out there. They are going to throw the ball. Looks like they've got a receiver out there in the flat slipping out there. That's number 5, Tyler Teeters. And Carroll didn't cover him all that well. He's going to pick up about 18 yards.
Out of bounds all the way down at the 21-yard line.
Straight out to the flat. They just had him in the backfield, rolled out the quarterback, Braden Wright, a little bootleg there to the right side of the offensive line, slipped out Teeters, little toss to him, and he did the rest. Yards after catch, as they call it in fantasy football, and in real football for that matter. And it's going to be 1st and 10 for Talawanda at the Carroll 22-yard line.
Very deceptive play. You would think not having many receivers out there, it would have been easy to cover that gentleman, but no.
He kind of slipped out there, and nobody really caught him there. I think, what is that, spider wide banana is what John Gruden used to call that? Handoff to the fullback right up the middle, and there's not a lot of running room to be had there. It's always hard to tell those fullback dives who's got the ball and who's making the tackle there. It looks like that would be Austin Hearst there with the fullback dive straight up the middle. Dan, did you see who the nose tackle was that got him? Is that Stephen Chapman again?
Yes, it was Stephen Chapman
the senior. He's having a very good first quarter already for the Carroll Patriots.
And he is a wide receiver also.
Got him playing both ways. Carroll is Division III, same as Baden and Ross, who are basically going on right now at Robinson Field. Chris Vogt and Joey Vogt have the call of that one from the barn over there up in the press box. 2 running backs. There's a toss. Toss goes to Austin Hearst, and he's met there at the end of the left side of the offensive line by a couple of Carroll Patriots. Who got him?
Nathan Bethridge.
Nathan Deathridge got him for the Patriots.
A good heavy metal name.
Deathridge. I love it. I love it. So it's going to be, again, a 3rd and long situation. This won't be quite as long. It's going to be 3rd and 8 from the 20-yard line. I'm not sure about Talawanda's kicking game, if they would consider themselves to be in field goal range or not. They are all the way over on the left hash.
We're down to 3 minutes and 21 seconds left in the quarter.
Very good, very good.
Quickly moving quarter.
Well, there's been a lot of running plays.
Absolutely.
You know, Carroll says they like to be balanced, but Talawanda's defense has dictated running there, and then Talawanda's offense clearly wants to run against Carroll. 5 down linemen for the Patriots. It's a play-action fake. He's going to bootleg to the right.
He's running the ball.
He's got some room. All the way toward the end zone, and he's in.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Talawanda. The pylon got knocked down there. Braden Wright looked like about 20 yards on a bootleg to the right. They've had both running backs slipping to the left side of the line, pulled the lineman going left, and they bootlegged him to the right and got him out in space.
It was a misdirection play. It completely fooled the defense. Very creative call there.
I think Larry Cox may have been practicing that one since he's been going in practice. They've been waiting to run that on somebody. Anybody, can we hit somebody, please?
Exactly.
Matt June lining up for the PAT for the Talawanda Brave. Ball is snapped. Hold is down. Kick is up. And it splits the uprights. And with 2:57 remaining in the first quarter of play, it's the Talawanda Braves 7, the Carroll Patriots nothing.
Performance Toyota
Superstore invites you to save. Money, that is. Overstocked pre-owned vehicles have forced us to wholesale direct to you. Our loss is your gain. Everything is on sale. Cars, trucks, vans, SUVs. Every deal will be made. Keep your stimulus check and just show up and drive. If you want it, we've got it. Every style, every color, every model. It's used cars for everyone. Only at your Performance Toyota Superstore. Go to performancetoyotastore.com.
Hey, this is Talawanda's DeAndre Blowfist Reveille, and you're listening to the Butler County High School Sports Reports Radio Network.
All right, we are back here in Oxford at the Marvin Wilhelm Athletic Complex here. Talawanda has just scored on a 20-yard bootleg there by the quarterback. That would be Braden Wright. And so the Brave lining up in their gray jerseys, red numbers, plain white helmets, and bright red face masks.
We would call that monochrome.
A lot of monochrome. Dan, they kind of look like your Lions jerseys
Yeah,
with
the
their
Lions-
alternate gray. It's the same shade of gray there, right?
Yes, it's not my favorite. I'll just say that.
Matt June going to go ahead and kick the ball off. He kicked it out of bounds the last time, and it looks like he's going to kick it out of bounds right about the same place this time as Ethan Braun again watches the ball bounce in bounds right alongside the Talawanda sideline, take a sideways hop out of bounds. This one goes out about the 8-yard line. And once again, the Carroll Patriots are going to have some pretty good field position at the 35-yard line to start off their second drive of the game. We got 2:57 remaining in the first quarter of play. And the Patriots, they kind of got punched in the mouth there a little bit, Dan, by that last drive.
It was an impressive drive. They just imposed their will on them, ran a ball basically down their throats.
Man, type of drive that, what do you say, separates the men from the boys? And
Yes, absolutely.
it's going to give a bit of a wake-up call to Carroll's defense, certainly. Those that are not playing both ways out there have to be steaming over there on the sideline thinking, okay, we wanted to come back and play football. We're here. And apparently there's another team that's here too. And very, very strong from Larry Cox's offensive line, moving bodies there for the Brave. So once again, shotgun formation here for Ryan Chapman. We've got the running back, Caden Caudill, back behind him, right alongside him, I should say. And the handoff, once again, is Caudill up the middle. And a great tackle there by the defensive lineman, big number 79, Andrew Miller, makes that stop for Talawanda. Nothing doing there, Dan.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Well, Carroll has not thrown the ball a whole lot. Are you surprised by this?
Yeah, I am. I thought, they have the brother combination, Chapman to Chapman. We're not seeing it.
Yeah, Cody Boyd said he definitely, if all things are going, he'd love to see some Chapman to Chapman. Of course, they're missing a lot of Lajenesses as well.
Yes, they are.
Snap and a toss to Caudill, and he's tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Beautiful tackle there out in open space. And it's kind of hard to see these red numbers on the gray jerseys there, but that looks like, is that 22?
That is 22.
That's number 22 there. That's Davis Williams slipping through the left side of the offensive line and wrapping up Caudill in the backfield. We've had two plays that have essentially gone nowhere, setting up a 3rd down and 10 for the Patriots at their own 35-yard line. Yeah, Lajeunesse is a very popular Carroll name, certainly. It runs kind of like, I would say, what Pate would be for Baden, or DeBrosi maybe for Fenwick.
Very much so.
Snap. Fake the handoff. He's going to throw. He's looking deep. Nobody was open. He's going to scramble to the left, and he's going to be chased out of bounds by Talawanda, well short of the 1st down.
So it's going to be about 4th and 8 here. We're going to see a punt coming up.
About a 2-yard gain there for Ryan Chapman. Any eye on who made that tackle, Dan?
No, I could not see it.
Good defensive play. It was all the way over on the Carroll sideline, and we're here in the back row of the press box. We got a wonderful wall kind of like right through the middle of the 35 and 40-yard line here. It's kind of making us lean to one side of the window or to the other to be able to see it.
If I were the uniform police, I would put a little white outline around the gray uniform there.
A little white, the red numbers there to make it a little easier to jump off the page.
Exactly.
There you go. There you go. Talawanda, whoever your boosters is, remember that next time, right? All right, the snap is back. Chapman, that's Steven Chapman, punting it deep. A fair catch being called. Ooh, made over the shoulder there by Casey Turman there for Talawanda. Few nervous moments, I'm sure, for Larry Cox over there on the sidelines. But the Brave are going to have the ball. 1st down and 10 around their own 34-yard line, and we'll be right back.
Never pay more when you shop Route 4. Performance Toyota.
Yeah, we're back in here, man. We're back live in Oxford. We'd like to thank some sponsors for tonight as we're getting ready for Talawanda's office to take the field. Performance Toyota is our corporate sponsor. Never pay more when you shop Route 4. Performance Toyota. We'd like to thank Batandy Steel, a proud sponsor of Baden Athletics. course, Chris Vogt and Joey Vogt are calling the Baden game tonight. And Rick's Tavern and Grill, located on Route 4 in Fairfield, who is our sponsor for Performer of the Week gift certificates. Power T formation for the Talawanda Brave. Snap's made, and it's going to be a passing play. He's got room over the top, and he got him, the tight end. The tight end's got it.
He's rumbling.
Jonathan Richter stumbling, bumbling down to the 4-yard line.
Oh, my goodness. What a play.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Carroll pulled everybody up to stop the run there. It was a play action. The quarterback, Braden Wright, dropped back there, and they slipped the tight end, Jonathan Richter.
61 yards,
61 yards over the top. He had to wait a while for that moon ball to come down for him. Carroll had a defender there, and the ball just sailed right over his fingertips.
I thought he might have had a fair catch signal there. I wasn't sure.
Tried to tip it a little bit, huh?
Yes.
So we got 1st and goal for Talawanda with a minute left here to go in the first quarter of play. We are at the 4-yard line as the huddle is taking a little bit of time, and now they're coming out and breaking the huddle back into that power T formation that Terry Malone ran so well, and all the Pop Warner teams seem to love to run. Snap, handoff.
Touchdown.
Touchdown. That'd be Tyler Teeters. He was the right halfback. Slipped it over the left tackle there and right into the end zone. And Talawanda's got a 2-touchdown lead early on the Patriots. Dan, this is some domination, sir.
This is very much a dominating effort by the Larry Cox squad.
Oh, my goodness. So we've got Matt June lining up here for the extra point as Talawanda's up 13-0 now with 41 seconds remaining in the first quarter. And Larry Cox could not have imagined a better start to this game for Talawanda. The snap, fumbles the snap. And they're going to go ahead and get sacked here by a swarm of Patriots in the backfield. Yeah, that was a mishandled, bobbled hold there, and Tyler Teeters never could quite get it down, so the conversion is no good. And
Stephen Chapman on the tackle there.
Stephen Chapman goes ahead and wraps him up there. That statistically goes down as a missed 2-point conversion, even though obviously they were attempting to kick an extra point on the play. It'll probably say run failed in the box score when our friend Rick Casano publishes that tomorrow out there, or tonight out there. We don't have to wait for tomorrow morning for the newspaper anymore, do we?
No, we don't. Even though I miss my regular newspaper.
Oh, my gosh, from way back in the day.
That's right.
We're going to keep it right here and not go to commercial. Fans tonight, Dan. I mean, you look out there. We can see where Carroll's fans are. They brought a decent little enclave from Dayton, the Beaver Creek area tonight.
Yes, and you can see they have them socially distanced. They have every other row marked off. They're all wearing masks, and it looks like it's coming off quite well. So I'm just glad to see football.
Oh, my gosh. We didn't know we'd for sure have football. It's kind of weird. Talawanda has been remotely learning the first semester. Carroll has not.
Joel, I was so desperate for sports, I was watching professional cornholing on ESPN2.
With that moment, you know you're in a real hurt during a pandemic when things that should be on ESPN 8, the Ocho, are now your normal, regular programming.
Absolutely.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him as Matt June lines up to kick things off for the Brave. And the ball's up. We'll try to keep it in bounds this time. It goes and is caught this time. A line drive by Ethan Braun. That one might have also gone out of bounds had he let it. He's going to run this thing all the way up as if it had gone out of bounds to about the 34.5-yard line for the Carroll Patriots. So all 3 kickoffs so far for Matt June have been down the left hash mark. This one stays barely in bounds there for Ethan Braun to be able to return, but it's going to be right around the same place here, 34-yard line for Carroll.
34 seconds left in the first quarter here.
What's Carroll looking for on this drive? I know, points, right? First downs?
I think Carroll just needs to string together some first downs.
Just get any kind of positive momentum going.
They got to keep Talawanda off the field. Their offense is just a juggernaut tonight.
This was a team that did beat Alter last year. They lost about 20 seniors, and you heard Larry Cox talking about it in the pregame show. He also lost about 20 seniors. And we're going to have a timeout here on the field called by the Patriots. Again, with 34 seconds, we're going to keep it right here. So Talawanda starts their school year remotely.
Yes.
They're all going online. They're not meeting in person. And that makes these extracurriculars all the more important for the mental health of these students.
Absolutely. As far as I'm concerned, school not only is learning, and you can do that on a computer, that is correct, but you need the social aspect, the interaction with other students. and you just don't have that sitting behind a computer screen.
You really don't. It's hard to Zoom a football game here, and the talk is that they're going to go remotely for the first semester of this school year, but they were going to revisit this at the end of the first quarter, and just the end of the first quarter of
not this
not
game.
The game, right? They're
No,
not going
no.
to be leaving in 34 seconds and finishing this up on Madden, right?
That is correct. Not
Remote
this
playing,
game.
yeah. The way the first quarter's gone for Carroll, maybe they would wish to go on to Madden for a little bit of the second quarter of this game. It's not turned out as well as they would hope after this long, long layoff and pandemic and whatever. We'll see if they can get their traction here. We're back on the field after the timeout. Again, shotgun formation, 3 wide receivers, trips to the top of the screen, and a flag as somebody jumped in the neutral zone early. That would be Nathan Durthridge of Talawanda jumping in off of the right tackle. He's the left defensive end, and that's going to give 5 free yards to the Patriots. Little antsy, Dan?
Yes, little jumpy there. He wanted to hit somebody.
He definitely wanted to hit. These guys have all wanted to hit somebody. I'm sure that's the one thing you want to do after social distancing forever and ever. You just want to go out and hit somebody. I think Larry Cox wanted to go out and hit somebody.
Absolutely.
Snap to the shotgun. Handoff. Caudill up the middle. Met again by Talawanda's defensive line. Have been making a lot more adjustments against this handoff up the middle stuff. 1 yard gain for Caudill.
Davis Williams on the tackle.
Davis Williams, and he had some help there also. There's a few of those guys in there. How about
Plethora.
Plethora of the brave young men from Oxford.
I was going to say a plethora of the Braves, so I'm glad you caught me early.
Make it an
there.
adjective, the brave young men from Oxford. As
there
the
you go,
clock
sir.
ticks down here, and we hit the end of the first quarter. I don't think Carroll's going to get the snap off, and they are not. And so we've reached the end of quarter 1. Larry Cox has to be happy with what he's seeing. It's Talawanda 13 and Carroll nothing.
Performance Toyota Superstore invites you to save. Money, that is. Overstocked pre-owned vehicles have forced us to wholesale direct to you. Our loss is your gain. Everything is on sale. Cars, trucks, vans, SUVs. Every deal will be made. Keep your stimulus check and just show up and drive. If you want it, we've got it. Every style, every color, every model. It's used cars for everyone. Only at your Performance Toyota Superstore. Go to performancetoyotastore.com.
Hey, this is Talawanda's DeAndre Bofist Reveille, and you're listening to the Butler County High School Sports Reports Radio Network.
And we are back here in Oxford at the Marvin Wilhelm Athletic Complex. The Talawanda Brave have the lead at the end of one quarter. We're about ready to start quarter number 2. The teams have switched sides. Carroll is going to have a second down and about 3 when they break their huddle here. And they're about the 40-yard line. Their own 40-yard line. They'll now be going from right to left on your internet computer screen.
Or as the old people say, your radio dial.
Your radio dial, right?
That's correct.
Put on the record player at night. 2 wide receivers at the bottom of your screen. Handoff again to Caudill. No, kept by the quarterback Chapman, and he's got a hole up the middle. He's got some
going all the
room.
way.
That was a zone read. He jukes a man around the 20-yard line, hops out to the left side. His teammate tries to lay him a block, lays off right before it would have been a block in the back. That was the ball carrier was Ryan Chapman, the quarterback, and he goes a very long way, Dan.
Yes, he does. And DeAndre Bofist Reveille with the tackle.
He's playing a little defense as well.
He's going both ways, too.
A touchdown-saving tackle. Carroll has moved the ball all the way down into the red zone. It's going to be first and goal from the 7-yard line. You could tell everybody on Talawanda's defense had keyed on the handoff to Caudill. That looked like a Vince Young style of zone read where the quarterback tucked the ball right back inside and took it himself up the middle.
Yes, he held that in the running back's belly as long as he could, pulled it away, and fooled the entire defense.
Little touch pass there, Kansas City Chiefs style, like a Tyreek Hill. Chapman to Chapman, he's around the edge, and he did make it, but there is a flag on the play, which is going to mean it's going to probably be either a block in the back or a hold as the receiver there, Stephen Chapman, tried to go all the way to the right pylon. Referees will talk about this, and it looks like it is going to be a block in the back on the Patriots, so no points for Carroll there.
Very well-designed play there, too.
Little touch pass there. That actually, had the play stood without the penalty, that actually would have been technically a touchdown pass from Chapman to Chapman.
Yes, he had a lot of speed going around the right end.
Little jet sweep. Touch pass forward. So we'll see how far this penalty puts the Patriots back.
Joel, do they do penalties as a spot foul here in high school, or is it from the line of scrimmage before the play started? Do you know
I
the answer
believe
to
that would be from the spot of the penalty itself.
There you go.
And we got a guy in the front row nodding here in the press box. That's
Thank you.
The official stats crew. I had to do stats crew for Baden for a couple years. That's an intense job, these guys. John Meeson crew up there, they're doing a good job tonight. Shotgun formation, 2 receivers to the bottom of the screen.
They're all the way back at the 14-yard line
Yes,
now.
they are. First and goal. Again, they get the down back. Handoff to Caudill.
Running wide left.
And it looks like he's not going to get a lot of yardage, if anything at all.
He was hit hard by Davis Williams, junior linebacker on the play.
Stretched that thing out all the way over to the left-hand side, and there was just no more room to go.
Yes.
Couple of the Talawanda stock keepers wanted to hold there on the play, but the Carroll teammate went ahead and put his hands up in the air, said, "I'm not holding him, I promise I'm not holding him."
It was the horizontal running game, not the vertical there.
That's right. They horizontally ran for about 30 yards and gained none.
That is correct.
Exactly. So it's going to be second and goal now from the 14-yard line. As once again, Chapman back in the shotgun. He's not been under center all game long. Caudill, his side kick there as a running back. It's almost like a pistol. Stephen Chapman being up a little bit farther. Talawanda man jumps. And now a timeout called by the Patriots. So with 10:24 remaining in the second quarter of play. Talawanda 13, the Patriots nothing but on the move.
Hey, this is Joey Vogt for The Report. One thing we strive to do here at The Report is recognize the local high school student athletes and their accomplishments to the best of our abilities, which is the reason why we partnered up with Performance Toyota and Rick's Tavern to crown a Performer of the Week. We choose a student athlete from each of our coverage area schools from any sports and let family, friends, and your school vote in the Report's Performer of the Week poll on our website. Tell us who you think should be in our Performer of the Week poll, and most importantly, enjoy the rest of the broadcast.
Second down and goal for the Carroll Patriots coming back here to a non-first. Second and goal from the 15-yard line, 14.5-yard line. Shotgun formation for Ryan Chapman. Snap. Rolls right. Got a couple receivers. Looks in the end zone. Jump ball thrown up there. And it is caught by the Patriots. Sam Sievert, one of the captains, and a senior, and Carroll is on the board.
Great drive, great response.
They needed to get that passing game going a little bit. It looks like Talawanda snuffed out a lot of the ground game there, and that was a couple of routes rubbing up against each other, and he threw it to the slot receiver, making a little out route there.
Yeah, Sam only 5'10", but he jumped like he was 6'3" there. I'll tell you, he skied for that ball.
Little sky ball there, coming down with it in traffic.
Absolutely.
Your boy Aaron Rodgers would be proud of that, right?
I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan.
Poor long-suffering Lions fan here next to me.
Absolutely.
Say the name Aaron Rodgers, about threw that headset off the floor there.
Not that bad.
Not that bad, but just
No,
bad
no.
enough, right?
Not a fan of Aaron. I respect his talent, but not his personality.
Yeah, well, he's in your division, causing lots of bad memories for you over the years, right?
Well, and then Brett Favre before that.
Oh, Brett Favre before that. Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
They have a pipeline of quarterbacks in Green Bay, and this Jordan Love will probably be a god in 3 years.
That's the way it always works, it seems, with some teams, right?
That's absolutely what
We had
it
a legal
is.
procedure, so we're backing up the extra point, and now we're going ahead and kicking it. It's going to be a low-line drive, and he pulled it
left.
wide left. And so 10-19 remain here in the second quarter of play. The Patriots are on the board. It's one of the trickiest things about running this here, and I'm sure Chris Vogt over at the Baden-Ross game can appreciate this. Whoa, we got 60 points here on the scoreboard? That's wrong. How about 6? That would be better. 13-6 in favor of Talawanda. No. Joe Pfeiffer up there is talking to us. The former principal of St. Joseph asked me about Baden-Ross score. And looks like the Baden Rams are up 7-0 in the first quarter if ScoreStream has this accurately across the bottom of our little screen here.
Other scores, Fairfield Indians are 3-0 over the Mason Comets. Winton Woods Warriors 7-0 over Edgewood. And the Hamilton Big Blue is over Princeton in the second quarter, 7-0.
That game airing on WMOH radio. I'm sure Coach Dick Ballard will be over there watching Princeton and Big Blue tonight as Coach Nate Mahan begins his second year at the helm of Hamilton High School. Be interesting this year with the playoff system. Normally, I'm used to having my Twitter up and having to look at all of the scores of all kinds of teams from all over the state with the Harbin ratings, but we're not going to have that this year.
No, Joel, they're going to play 6 games, and then they're going to have a coach's vote to determine seedings.
What could possibly go wrong there, right? I feel bad for a Coach Larry Cox or a Coach Boyd over there, or Coach Bird over there for Carroll. You're worried about your own team.
Yes.
And as Coach Bird reminded me before the game, you're worried about just playing the next game. Carroll just wants to get to game number 2 into conference play.
That one game at a time classic line really does apply this year more than any.
You really have to make sure you don't infect any of your teammates with COVID or whatever that would cancel one of your games.
Absolutely.
If you want to be able to have your next game the next weekend, and there's going to be a bunch of that going along. Heck, Major League Baseball's had all kinds of issues with that this year with the Cardinals. The Reds even had a few games canceled and postponed, and then, of course, the Miami Marlins were the first one that got struck with some COVID.
Yes, the Cardinals were supposed to and still have to make up 17 games.
Oh, man.
And I found out that they're going to base the playoffs for the National League on winning percentage.
Winning percentage.
Not number of wins.
But the Cardinals should be able to get all those games in except for 2. That's going to be a touchback, a very long kickoff for Stephen Chapman. It's fielded about 3 yards into the end zone in high school football. Once that ball crosses the plane of the goal line, even if you catch it in the air and it never even touches the ground, it still is a touchback. So the ball will go out to the 20-yard line for Larry Cox and his Power T Talawanda offense. Yeah, St. Louis Cardinals, to finish that note up there, they're supposed to have 58 out of 60 games completed by the time they play all of these doubleheaders. They played 2 against the Pirates yesterday. They played against the Royals before that. They played 8 games in 5 days against the White Sox and Cubs.
I think the Cincinnati Reds, as bad as their bullpen has been, they should hope they get a case of COVID so they can play more doubleheaders.
7-inning games seem to be the way they rocked, isn't
it? 7-inning games, or the Reds are gods.
Well, they swept a doubleheader in Milwaukee last night and swept a doubleheader in Detroit earlier this year. Both 7-inning games, and I think a lot of shutouts in there. Power T formation. Here comes Talawanda. Snap. Handoff. Slow, patient Le'Veon Bell style of run, and that's going to go out for about 12 yards. The left tailback over the right tackle. A lot of off tackle.
And that was Ethan Braun on the tackle for
Ethan
Carroll.
Braun on the tackle, and DeAndre Bothus-Reveille was the guy slashing and dicing very patiently as his blocks were setting up there through the Carroll linebacking core. It's going to be a first down for Talawanda. A lot of those off-tackle type of runs we're seeing here where it's the right back going off left tackle or the left back going off right tackle. You use your fullback and your other wing back as a lead blocker there, as well as your tight ends.
And DeAndre has very good vision. I've noticed that. He knows where to hit the hole.
Very patient runner. And DeAndre here, again, patient, but not as much of a hole here, and a flag on top of it.
I'm going to call holding here. We'll see what happens.
Most likely. Most likely. It looks like face mask being called on Carroll. But it looks like it's only a 5-yard face mask. The NFL has done away with 5-yard face masks, but I think high school might still have it. So it looks like we're going to have a 5-yard penalty tacked on to the end of the run here. The down will count. And so it's about a 1. Statistically, we'll credit that with a 2-yard run for DeAndre Bothus-Reveille, a 2-yard run, and then we'll give a 5-yard penalty on top of that to make it 2nd down and 3 for the Brave. Carroll now has 5 down linemen, and it looks like about 3 linebackers and a couple of safeties in really, really tight. There's no wide receivers out anywhere to have to be able to defend, so here comes the snap. Off tackle. That handoff goes to Tyler Teeters from the right side going off the left guard.
Tackled by Cole Ryan.
And
he is one of the captains for Carroll.
There you go. He's one of their defensive captains, one of the big guys, right?
Absolutely.
We happened to see a name that jumped off the page at us when we were looking at the Carroll roster, and that was Noah Mangold we saw.
Yes.
And Noah Mangold is the
nephew
of the former New York Jets player Nick Mangold, And remember, his sister Amy actually played guard for the Alter Knights back then. I kind of wonder what that looks like in the Mangold family, having a Carroll Patriot nephew, rather than that family was Alter all the way through in the GCL. Power T formation.
3rd and 2.
Let's see what we got here for Talawanda. Handoff to Reveille, and a whistle blows. He had a lot of room, but this play is not going to count.
We're laughing because it was like he was running through a imaginary ghost line. There was no one even around him.
Kind of looks like the old football practices where you're not in pads and not allowed to hit each other, right?
That is correct.
He ran to daylight all right, but nobody else was running after him because the whistle blew there and called the false start on the play. And so instead of a 3rd down and about 1.5 yards, we're going to have 3rd down now and about 6 for the Talawanda Brave. We're down hitting the 8-minute mark of the 2nd quarter of play here in Oxford, Ohio. Joel Sackenheim and Dan Vogt, glad to have you with us here.
It's beautiful just to be here and call some football.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, after all that's gone on in 2020, I kind of thought we'd get lightninged out tonight.
I agree
Toss
with you.
sweep to DeAndre Reveille. That another flag. He's got a lot of room, but I'm not going to get too excited here. Will he catch him from behind? Tackled right from behind, but into the end zone.
But
it's not going to be a touchdown. We got a flag all the way back at the 32-yard line. Don't get too excited. And let's see who this is going to be on here. Well,
I'm going to call holding, and I was incorrect the first time I called holding, but I think we're going to have holding again.
If you're incorrect this time, it will be a very long touchdown run of 64 yards for DeAndre Reveille, but they're all kind of walking back up to the other end of the field here. And
I'll tell you, Joel, you could see DeAndre Reveille speed on that play. Absolutely.
He definitely had some breakaway speed, and Shamar Whitfield for Carroll, give him credit. He never gave up on the play, chased him down, tackled him as he was kind of diving and leaving his feet toward the end zone. Very close play there at the goal line where Reveille got in, but it's not going to matter. It's not going to count. The 10-yard penalty will be enforced from the spot of the foul, and now we're going to have a 3rd down and long, very long, for Talawanda. Dan, is this something where you go ahead and try to air it out, or is this something where you call some sort of running or draw play and just punt and live to see another day? What do you think?
You know what? I would send all 4 wide out, and I just throw it deep. If they pick it off, it's the same thing as a punt. It would work. You could get a pass interference call, defensive holding, anything.
Interesting thing about pass interference in high school football, being a 3rd and 20 situation, it is not an automatic 1st down in high school football. So they could pick up 15 yards, but they would not have enough to get the 1st down on that. They'd get the down back, and we have a Talawanda timeout, and we will go to commercial with the score, the Talawanda Brave 13 and the Carroll Patriots 6.
Hey, this is Joey Vogt for The Report. One thing we strive to do here at The Report is recognize the local high school student athletes and their accomplishments to the best of our abilities, which is the reason why we partnered up with Performance Toyota and Rick's Tavern to crown a Performer of the Week. We choose a student athlete from each of our coverage area schools from any sports and let family, friends, and your school vote in the Report's Performer of the Week poll on our website. Tell us who you think should be in our Performer of the Week poll, and most importantly, enjoy the rest of the broadcast.
Hey, this is Talawanda's DeAndre Reveille, and you're listening to the Butler County High School Sports Reports Radio Network.
We're back here. 20, a sneaky 3rd down punt wouldn't be a bad idea here.
I've seen Purcell Marion do that before.
They would gain some tremendous field position.
If they don't have anybody back there to be able to return the kick, it would certainly be unconventional.
It would be, and it just depends on if their quarterback can punt or not. Most quarterbacks are probably the best athlete on the team, so you're going to, it's a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but.
Let's see here. It looks like we're going to have a very different formation for Talawanda than what we've had before. We got a shotgun, trips receivers to the left. Teeters in the backfield alongside of Braden Wright. This is going to be a pass play. And it's going to be, he's looking for a, oh,
And
they're going
it's
to be picked.
intercepted.
Crossing route, and that did not turn out the way Coach Cox wanted it in the timeout. That was Sam Sievert, the defensive captain, 5'10", 190-pound senior for the Carroll Patriots. And Carroll all of a sudden has a little bit of momentum on their side. Dan?
Seifert, beautiful play on the ball, just jumped it. He looked like he was the receiver on the play. He's a senior. He probably has seen that play before.
There you go. It was a crossing route. Look, with the slot receiver trying to go over it, and Wright kind of locked in on him with his head.
And the Carroll Patriots right now, with 7 minutes to go in the half, they're knocking on the door. They got the field position. They can tie this game up with a few decent plays.
They can. They're only 29 yards away here as the Patriots bring the ball out. Teams are bringing their own ball out on the field. I wonder if that's a COVID thing as well going on here.
I didn't notice that, Joel. That's
Keep
very
an eye and see if you
interesting.
catch that as well. Snap into the shotgun. Little hitch.
Hitch and go.
Looking deep and incomplete. It's going to hit the ground right in between two receivers. We had both Ethan Braun and Ian Jankowski both on the play, and the ball fell right in between the two receivers as one of them kind of hitched over the top and one of them ran an out route on the play.
That's interesting that you brought up about how the football is being handled. The center's actually placing the ball, not the officials. Very interesting.
The officials are putting a beanbag of some sort on the field.
Yes, and that's marking where the ball should be placed.
And then the center is coming out of the huddle with the football and bringing it out to the beanbag. Shotgun formation. Snap to Chapman. Up the middle with Caudill. He's only going to gain about 2 yards here as Talawanda does not social distance him on that tackle. 1 yard gain for the Patriots.
Zach Flannery on the tackle. The play wasn't going to happen. He did a spin move in the backfield. Zach just wrapped him up.
He hit the circle button and didn't go anywhere. I've seen my friends
Absolutely.
do that in Madden a few times.
3rd and 8 here at the 27. Big play for Carroll.
And they're all looking over kind of Oklahoma State style, Mike Gundy style at the sideline for a play call.
4 wideouts on the field.
Absolutely. Shotgun snap. Roll out to the right. He's got a couple receivers. One of them running an outright, didn't throw it. Now he's going to throw it late. Ball batted down, incomplete. And this drive has temporarily stalled, although if your kicker is not necessarily very good at the 28-yard line, maybe on 4th down and 8, you go for it.
I would say they're going to go for it. You're looking at a 44-yard field goal here, and unless Carroll has an exceptional kicker, we'll see what happens.
So Carroll coming out here. Looks like, well, we're seeing what they're doing. They're counting people up. It's hard to tell exactly what you're looking at here. It looks like they're going to be back in a formation, a kicking formation. This is going to be a 45-yard field goal attempt. You're going to have the quarterback, Ryan Chapman, going to be holding it, and Steven Chapman, his brother, it looks like, is going to be trying to kick this for Carroll. It's off the left hash. This will be quite a bit of a kick here in a 7-point game. The ball is going to be snapped here momentarily. Back to the holder, Chapman. The other Chapman, oh, this is going to be well short. And it lands in the end zone. No good. Now, here's the one good thing about this, Danny Vogt. In high school football,
the ball goes back to the 20.
To the 20-yard lines, exactly. So it works like a punt that ended up being a touchback. Carroll had a chance to score 3 points on that. Given that they didn't, they're going to gain about 8 yards of field position.
That's one rule I think they should maybe change.
Well, go ahead.
Well, you can try the 45-yard field goal and be short, and it was a bad snap to boot. The ball was kind of juggled by the holder there. The ball came out almost like a punt.
By the time they got the hold down, he almost kicked the laces, I think. The ball was backwards.
But you don't get penalized for that in high school football.
No, you don't. Dick Ballard, our friend over at WMOH, would always talk about how when he used to coach Ross, he would try 90-yard field goals, and they'd actually practice kicking it out of bounds on the field goal attempt.
What would prevent a team from trying a field goal from their own 35-yard line? Would the ball be placed at the other 20?
The ball would be placed at the other 20, as far as Dick Ballard tells me. I've never personally seen it tried in a high school game, but that's what he swears.
We're going to have to ask someone that, and we'll come back and get an answer for you after halftime on that. That just seems like a big flaw.
Toss sweep for Talawanda. That's the running back, Austin Hearst, it looks like, and he's going to get about 5 yards. He kind of mumbled and grumbled and bumbled his way through several defensive players for Carroll and he's going to pick up 5 yards on that play. It's going to be 2nd and 5. It didn't look like that play was really going anywhere.
No, linebacker Gage Plastenthal with the tackle.
But they did manage to get 5 yards out of that. And when you run an offense the style of Talawanda's, you'll take 5 yards on almost any first down play, Dan.
They are absolutely bruising and dominating the line of scrimmage in the running game. It is very impressive because the way they're lining up, everyone knows it's going to be a run, and they're just gaining the yards.
Yep. So here we go. Here's the snap. Toss sweep to DeAndre Bothus Reveille. And he's going to get about 4 yards. It's going to be just short of the first down.
Tyler Teeters on a tackle. Make that Ethan Braun.
Ethan Braun, yeah, Carroll. It's hard juggling 2 rosters. I'm doing the same thing here, Dan. You got the same number on the different roster. Who's white, who's gray, all that good. They got the helmets that almost look exactly alike here.
Yes,
Talawandas are playing white with the red face mask. Carroll's also white helmet. It does have the red C on it, and it's got the patriotic red, white, and blue stripe, the tri-stripe.
Yes.
The classic tri-stripe.
You got to love the classic uniform
Oh, my
design.
gosh. Quarterback sneak here on 3rd down and 1, and this is going to make it for Talawanda. He's going to be out to the 31-yard line. We're down to 5 minutes left to go in the second quarter of play, and it is 1st down and 10, Talawanda at their own 31-yard line.
My favorite 1-yard play, the quarterback sneak, and, of course, the quarterback was not in the shotgun formation.
That is your big pet peeve, isn't it, Dan?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Get right under the center. You can fall next to the guard and get a yard. Don't do it out of the shotgun.
It
Good
still is
Lord.
surreal seeing the umpire not with the football in his hand, but rather with an orange bean bag and placing it down right on the 31-yard line.
What would be the call, Joel, if the center moved the beanbag up a little and then put the ball down? Would that be an illegal procedure?
I don't know. I don't know that they make rules about this normal pandemic behavior in the high school football HS rulebook. Handoff.
Number
off
7.
Center. He's fast, man. That would be Casey Turman for Talawanda. His first carry, I believe,
he
of
was
the night.
hit number 7, and Ian Jankowski with the tackle.
Jankowski with the
Kate.
tackle. It's going to be an 8-yard gain for the Talawanda Brave. And Turman was the right running back in the power T and going, again, over left guard, over left tackle, and just slashing his way through as these blockers. Talawanda's offensive line has had a very good night.
On that previous play, Carroll's safety totally blitzed right up to the line, and still they got 8 yards on it. So Carroll's doing everything they can to stop this running game, and they're just not doing it.
The big bodies of Talawanda's O-line have been moving people around. Power T formation, toss from left to right. That's DeAndre.
Power run.
Oh, my goodness, and a flag at the end of it. We'll see who this is on. He got about 15 yards on that carry,
All
I
the
would
way
say.
down to the 45. The flag was thrown right at the tackle. Could it possibly be a face mask,
It is a
Joel?
face mask, Dan. A 5-yard incidental face mask on the Patriots. So that run for DeAndre Bothus Reveille is going to be about a 15-yard gain and a first down, and then throw 5 more yards on top of that. 1st and 10 for Talawanda, now across midfield at the Carroll 40-yard line.
Great drive for Talawanda. They're burning up the clock. 3 minutes 36 seconds to go in the second quarter. So ideally for the Brave, get down there, keep grinding the ball, score before the half, give the Patriots no chance to have any time left for their offense.
I believe Carroll, if they had to throw the ball, would have the better odds of the two teams having to get chunk yardage to the air.
Absolutely.
Toss sweep here to Austin Hearst, who's off the right tackle there, almost out of bounds and tackled just before he got there for about a 5-yard gain.
By Carlson.
Kyle Carlson, Kyle with a C.
Kyle with a C. Very
C-Y-L-E, Kyle with a C. How about that? The other name that you saw on the Carroll roster earlier when you were looking.
Yeah, well, they have a freshman named
freshman.
Devon Butts, 6'3", 320-pound freshman.
Wow. That'll be somebody to keep an eye
He's
on.
going to be a horse.
What is he? He's a football player. He's a freshman football player, Joe Pfeiffer.
They got him on offensive line and defensive line on the roster.
But he's a freshman.
So
we're not going to see him yet until maybe another year or two. That was a handoff to Turman from right, going off left tackle.
I see him over on the sideline, Mr. Butts.
Yep.
Absolutely a monster.
He's got some size to
71
him.
on him.
Danny, do you like big?
He's coming in.
Do you like big butts? And you cannot lie. Devon cannot deny.
The only Butts I like would have been Marion Butts.
Marion Butts, the old
Yes.
running back.
Yes.
He's out there on the field now, actually. We mentioned him, and here
they
he
brought
is.
him in. It's almost like it was a wake-up call.
You build it, and we will come, right? Devon Butts out there playing big nose tackle there.
Gonna
The
watch
freshman,
him
number
on this play.
71, 320 pounds for the Carroll Patriots. On third and about a half yard. Watch for the QB sneak again. It's going to be a toss sweep instead. Off right tackle, and it looks like it's not going to go very far, but Talawanda didn't need to go very far, and it is going to be a first down, and they're still pushing.
Butts is in on the tackle.
They're
He's
going
holding his
about half a
legs.
mile an hour here.
Looked like a rugby play there.
The scrum, he was going to have enough to have that first down by about a yard. And he ended up in that scrum moving about 3 more yards beyond that forward.
And the tackle was by Devon Butts.
Devon Butts gets there, and it is a first down for Talawanda. We're now down to 1:37 and ticking. Talawanda does have 2 timeouts remaining here in the second quarter. First down at the 26-yard line.
Joel and I, one of our big sticklers in high school football is clock management. So we're going to see how the Brave handles this last 1 minute and 21 seconds.
It's got to be harder than a Madden game because you got 11 people instead of 1 plus a coach, and your scoreboard's on the opposite side of the field behind you.
And you
as
got to
the
wait
handoff.
for beanbag placements.
And we're going to have a whistle and probably a timeout for Talawanda here. Let's see what we got. Clock stoppage, timeout, Talawanda. We're going to keep it right here at 1:11 remaining. That is Talawanda's second timeout.
Joel, that play gained just 2 short yards. It was a running play.
And it zapped a timeout.
Yes.
Now, this is going to be a tricky thing for Coach Larry Cox's Talawanda team. As we've established and we've seen today, they are much more comfortable running the football.
Right.
And they don't have a lot of formations with a lot of wide receivers. They've only dropped back in the shotgun with multiple wide receivers once, and they threw a crossing route interception on that play.
I'll tell you, even a field goal in this situation would be huge, though. That would put them up by more than 1 touchdown.
It'd be a 2-score game. That's exactly
Absolutely.
right. So Talawanda is moving the ball, and they are moving the ball on the ground. And they're not getting enormous chunks. They've had a couple of 15-yard runs, but a lot of it's been 5 or 6 yards at a time. Very patient, very methodical, right? It's like a good bunch of Novocaine, right?
You're saying they're numbing the defense?
Numbing the defense, right?
Very good.
Extraction, number 11.
Number 11 would be pretty tough.
11 would be a tough
It's
extraction.
like pulling eye teeth.
Oof.
11 is an eye tooth.
11 is an eye tooth. Would that be a cuspid?
That would be a cuspid.
A cuspid.
Or a canine.
Okay, very nice. Very pointy.
Only in our broadcast would you get dental trivia, Joe.
Anybody need a good dentist? Go over to Loveland. You can see Danny Vogt.
Thank you, sir. I'll
Power
slip you that
T.
10 later.
Power T formation here. Sliding out. He's got a receiver, a
He's
tight
throwing.
end. Can he
He's
get it
got
to
him.
him? It's going to be
He's
caught.
got it.
And he's down at the 2-yard line there. Grady Holmes snuck out from the right tight end, crossed the field. You knew Talawanda was going to need a little bunch of yardage to be able to make this work, and now the Brave are in business.
Love that play. They threw it to the tight end. He escaped out of the backfield. No one was really paying attention to him. The ball was underthrown. It was like he was waiting forever for it to come down. Finally, he grabs it, rumbles, gets knocked down about the 2-yard line.
So here we go, first and goal from the 2. The clock is running. It does stop on a first down just to set the beanbag, not the ball. Handoff to number 5. That would be Tyler Teeters, and he is in to the end zone for Talawanda. What a great cap of a drive.
47 seconds left in the half. Just beautiful clock management. Beautiful.
I mean, Talawanda, we saw that going into that timeout. They were in a situation where they needed to gain a little bit more yardage based on the time they had left. And that passing play gave them that one chunk they needed to set them up inside the red zone.
They surprised Carroll. Carroll was not ready for that. I think Carroll thought they were just going to try and pound it all the way in. And
I'm kind of surprised. Again, we talk about clock management.
Yes.
Because I'm agreeing with you. If we're in the third quarter, I'm sure everyone's thinking they're just going to pound it, they're going to pound it, they're going to pound it. But looking at that clock, there wasn't enough time to really keep pounding.
I agree.
Snap, extra point, up, sky high, and no good, wide to, it looks like, the right. And so with 47 seconds remaining in the second quarter of play, it's the Talawanda Brave, 19, the Carroll Patriots, 6.
Never pay more when you shop Route 4. Performance Toyota.
Hey, this is Talawanda's DeAndre Bothist Reveille, and you're listening to the Butler County High School Sports Reports Radio Network.
Back here in Oxford, our other game tonight is being done by our A team, right, Danny?
That is right.
Chris Vogt and Joey Vogt, they're over at Robinson Field where the Baden Rams appear to have a 14-0 lead on the Ross Rams. Now, here's where that doesn't matter, is in second-level points. For any Talawanda Brave fans that are listening to this that would otherwise be saying, come on, Ross, beat Baden, because if we beat you later on this season, we need your second-level points. That does not matter this year in an Indiana style of playoff bracket where everybody is getting in.
I think we need to talk to the coaches and see how they're going to motivate these kids to play 6 strong games knowing that they're automatically going to make the playoffs. It's going to be interesting this year now. In Indiana, they do that, don't they, Joel?
Yes, Indiana actually has an 8-game regular season.
Okay.
And then everybody gets into the playoffs.
And being familiar with Florida high school football, because you were down there a few years ago,
yes,
how did the Florida work?
Well, Florida high school football had only certain teams making it to the playoffs. They actually changed it halfway while I was down there. We're going to have a kickoff. I'll tell you this as we go here.
Okay.
We got a lot of halftime to talk about, a little playoff football too, Dan, which is not bad. Ball is squibbed along the ground, and it's going to be recovered by Carroll around the 19-yard line. It's going to be run. He's got a bit of a seam and more of a seam.
Tackle.
And that's Ethan Braun across midfield for the Patriots.
Wow.
Such a good thing for Talawanda. They took off as much time as they did because Carroll, with only one timeout, is left with 35 seconds and about a 49-yard field now. That ball bounced and bounced and bounced, was picked up by Ethan Braun, the back man, and he just kind of kept slipping through seams.
He broke a few tackles along the way. It's a great run.
Got a couple blocks, and then before you know it, he's out across midfield. So the Carroll Patriots, that changes everything. Instead of taking a knee and going in at halftime now,
they have one timeout left.
And plus, every time the clock stops on a first down,
and the clock would stop. You're correct.
As well as incomplete passes or anything that is run out of bounds. So Carroll has the opportunity here, and they run the type of offense that will allow this. 3 receivers to the top, 1 to the bottom. Roll out to the top side of the screen. Looking for a receiver. Not there, and he short hops it and bounces it. I think that Ryan Chapman actually threw that away intentionally. It looked like a ground ball short hop.
He intended it for Ethan Braun, his stud senior receiver, but he short hopped him. You're correct.
Yeah, I think he intended it for the 35-yard line. And it was deadly accurate. And Braun happened to be the receiver in the area to make the play legal. Must have an eligible receiver in there. 28 seconds remaining here in the second quarter of play. Talawanda up 19-6 over the Patriots. Carroll right across midfield trying to score something before the half. Carroll had actually gained some momentum here before Talawanda's last drive. Formation is shotgun again for Chapman. He takes a 5-step drop. Now he looks up, he's trying to scramble. There's some pressure. The pocket's closing. He's extending the play. He's going to throw it toward the sideline, and it is caught by number 6, Sam Sievert.
Who steps out of bounds, and
that'll
he is
stop
short
the clock. Very good. Short of the first down. So we've got, 3rd and 3. And that was a very heroic play there by Ryan Chapman. His pocket basically closed down on him. He scrambled toward the left, reset himself by going backwards, and then eventually found his teammate Sievert there. Very difficult for Talawanda secondary to cover a receiver for that long.
Joel, we got 16 seconds left in the half. I'm thinking maybe 2 plays here and a field goal if they can, get 20 yards. We'll see what happens.
Well, if you can pick up a first down, you can spike the ball and save the timeout because the clock will stop anyway for the spotting of the football.
That's true.
Or the spotting of the beanbag, at least.
Maybe the bean.
Oh, over the head.
Bad snap.
He falls on it. That's going to be Carroll's last timeout if they want it. And it looks like the clock is stopped.
With 11 seconds.
And now it's winded. And it looks like Carroll's going to not bother to use their timeout. That was a loss of a good 20 yards. It's going to be 4th down anyway. So that's going to be the end of the second quarter. We have reached halftime, and the score from Oxford. The Talawanda Brave have a 19-6 lead over their former MML rivals, the Carroll Patriots.
Hey, this is Joey Vogt for The Report. One thing we strive to do here at The Report is recognize the local high school student athletes and their accomplishments to the best of our abilities, which is the reason why we partnered up with Performance Toyota and Rick's Tavern to crown a Performer of the Week. We choose a student athlete from each of our coverage area schools from any sports and let family, friends, and your school vote in the report's Performer of the Week poll on our website. Tell us who you think should be in our Performer of the Week poll, and most importantly, enjoy the rest of the broadcast.
We thank you for listening to a live broadcast on the Butler County High School Sports Report's YouTube channel. We encourage you to check out our website at www.bchssreport.com for all your local prep sports results, stories, and student-athlete features. Enjoy the rest of the game.
Hey, this is Talawanda's DeAndre Bothist Reveille, and you're listening to the Butler County High School Sports Reports Radio Network.
All right, we're back here at Talawanda with the Talawanda Brave having a 19-6 lead over the Carroll Patriots. I mentioned earlier that they were in the same conference at one point in time, Dan. About 2005 or so was the last time that Talawanda and Carroll played each other in a conference game. It looks like Carroll won that game 27-7. That was back in 2005. And after that, the Mid-Miami League, which was an interesting combination of public and private schools because you had Carroll and you had Fenwick in there, along with, it looks like, Edgewood and Monroe. Used to be called Lemon Monroe back then. You got Franklin and some of those other guys there in that conference. And Talawanda, of course, was in there as well. And so that conference kind of breaks up. Talawanda joins the Fort Ancient Valley Conference around 2006. Fenwick and Carroll both joined the GCL at that point in time. That's when Baden starts playing them, and we start seeing them quite a bit. So first half of this game here, I mean, they're old rivals from the same conference, but they were in diapers the last time they saw each other.
Yes, they're about 3 years old, Joel. You are correct about that.
So what do you think about Talawanda and how they're doing so far? What do you think?
I love Talawanda's game plan. Talawanda is just dominating the line of scrimmage. They're just man-on-man, beating them up at the line. Their offensive line just looks larger, bigger guys than Carroll. You know, they're hitting the weight room. They're just dominating up front. You're seeing that Terry Malone triple back formation, and it's working for them. And then they snuck in the pass, surprised them.
They've not thrown it often.
No.
Tonight, Talawanda hasn't. But when they have, other than the one interception, which was on a 3rd and 20 where everybody knew they had to pass, when they were able to do it in the play action out of their normal power T or variation of that with a couple running backs behind the quarterback, they've been able to slip some tight ends out there quite well. Joe Pyfron's coming over to me with
giving us
chocolate chip cookies.
Beautiful
Oh my gosh.
cookies.
He's the play-by-play public the public address announcer for the Talawanda Brave. He's been up here quite a bit. We got Joe Pyfron, we got John Meese both up here, a couple of old Catholic friends of mine from back in the Hamilton CYO days. Joe Pyfron used to be the principal of St. Joseph's in Hamilton, so he knows quite a bit of all of this. And I believe he's a parishioner at St. Mary's over here in Oxford, along with Father Jeff Silver, who used to be at St. Julie's.
Absolutely.
Small world here, okay?
Very, very small world. I'm watching the halftime display here with the band, Talawanda's band. All of them have masks on. They're all 6 foot apart. They're having a good time out there.
Yeah, let's talk about these COVID procedures here. So I noticed when we came up here to the press box, there's some yellow caution tape all over these stands. And it kind of looks like the inside of the churches where every other pew is kind of roped off. The different churches have been finding different ways of being able to do that every other row.
And I've heard that the way the ticket distribution is, if you have a player on the team or a cheerleader or someone in the band and your parents, you get a ticket for each parent or significant other. But general admission is not
They're trying to put about, 350 people in the stands, which is 15% capacity. That's according to Wes Cole of Talawanda, their athletic director.
And
go ahead.
I'm just saying it's a shame for people that have been waiting for football that they can't come see it. But, we're broadcasting it here for you, trying to give you a aspect of what's going on.
Trying to let you see what's happening. So they got blue tape on a few of the seats that people are allowed to sit on, and they bunch those in groups of 2, 3, or 4, and they're trying to get immediate family to be able to sit together, but you're still 6 feet apart from anybody else's immediate family down there in the stands. Obviously, this would be a much more crowded stadium if they just announced a vaccine and gave it to everybody yesterday, and then all of a sudden everybody could just go back to normal, because the pent-up demand is ridiculous right now.
Absolutely. Now, what do you think of this beanbag thing, Joel? Can you kind of elaborate on what this is?
Well, I'm curious to see how this is going to play out in a no-huddle offense more than anything else.
Absolutely.
Obviously, with the take your time and huddle and whatever else, the idea that a center is going to bring the football back into the huddle, that's going to be difficult muscle memory for even high school football players that have never had to do that before. I'm sure they're going to have to remember to grab the ball and bring it back with them into the huddle.
Yes, I'm wondering if the college game is going to have the beanbag or the NFL. I've never even known about this beanbag. This is just something brand new to me here.
It's very different, but I'll tell you one team that would find a way to take advantage of that, and that would be the Patriots, not Carroll, but New England.
Well, the New England Patriots, their beanbag would probably have less beans in it.
Less beans in it
That
than
is
the other
correct.
bags.
An underinflated beanbag.
Underinflated beanbag. That's exactly right.
So that might be a problem.
We were talking earlier, Dan Vogt, about playoffs.
Yes.
And it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens this year. You had mentioned earlier the idea of getting the kids motivated to play regular season games when there's really nothing at stake. My response to that would probably be that these guys, 16, 17-year-old boys, are so eager to be not 6 feet away from people that hitting somebody is going to feel really, really good.
Absolutely. I'm sure it's refreshing. I'm sure they're going stir crazy.
Physical contact. I was talking with a Carroll fan before the game. He had a son that was a senior last year. The senior's name was Jason. I didn't get his last name. And Jason apparently couldn't go to prom, as all of our seniors in the class of 2020 didn't. Couldn't go to graduation, that type of stuff. And so he had his girlfriend come over to the house on prom night, and they sat 6 feet apart from each other, had a couple of candles on the table, and ate some Cane's chicken together. The world's saddest prom night in the class of 2020.
Yeah.
Jason from Carroll High School.
Poor Jason. No slow dancing. No getting close with his lady. Just eating chicken fingers.
Eating chicken fingers,
6
right?
feet apart.
Honey, can you pass the honey mustard, please? Oh, my goodness.
It's a different world.
But everybody's going to make it to the playoffs this year. We're going to play a 6-game regular season. And then starting in Week 7, they will begin the playoffs with everybody who wants to be involved in the playoffs.
Now, Joel, go ahead. I was going to ask you, how are they going to establish seeding for the playoffs? Because I know a lot of people want to know that.
Every team will actually have a chance to get into the playoffs if they want to, or they can opt not to. And I imagine that most teams that are playing are going to opt to. Why were you playing if you're not going to opt to? But you have a deadline of September 17th to commit to the OHSAA whether you're going to be participating in the playoffs or not. And I happen to be looking at Joe Idle's website. Joe and I are going to be stir crazy this year because we are not doing what we normally would be doing by counting playoff points. What's going to happen, he has all of the Division II teams all in one region at this point in time. That would be, I'm not going to count these all up one at a time, but about 108 teams are in Division II. Talawanda would be one of them. Normally by tonight you would have those split off into 4 regions, but the OHSAA has not done that yet because they want to make sure they know who all is and is not participating. If 20 schools from Cleveland decide they don't want in, they don't want to have one region of 7 schools and another region of 27.
Or if coronavirus wipes out 20 schools.
That's going to be challenging to do. To see,
yes.
I mean, these are the real issues of our time. So by the 17th of September, they're going to have to opt in or opt out. Once that is done, on September 18th, the OHSAA is going to take all the teams that are going to be in, and they're going to split them up into 4 quadrants, as they normally would do, based on division. So Talawanda Division 2, Hamilton and Middletown Division 1, Ross and Baden and Monroe will be Division 3. Okay. And then everybody that committed to being in is going to be able to participate, can be placed on the bracket somewhere. Coaches are going to have a coaches vote during the week of September 28th, which is after week 5. So they'll have one more game to play, but the bracket will already be published and out.
Now, you might not remember this, but back in the day, college football had an AP and a UPI poll.
Oh, yes.
UPI, United Press International. There was a coaches poll, and they, the AP poll, big polls back then, But now we're going to go with a coach's poll for high school football.
The only difference is, unlike that college football era where you played one bowl game and you're done and we're still voting on who we think is the best, we're actually going to be able to play them off on the field, which is what high school football has going for it, that college has been desperately trying to achieve some level of without a heck of a lot of success
Joel,
through most of our lifetimes.
If you could be the college football god and design a playoff system for college football.
Yes.
How many teams? 16?
12.
12.
I would not mind 16 if you offered me 16, but here's the key. You got to have all 10 conference champions. I'm here in Oxford, Ohio, the home of Miami University. They won the MAC last year. They should be the 12 seed or the 16 seed. They should be able to get pummeled by an Alabama by 30 points or whatever, but at least have their opportunity to play love and honor for Miami and wear their white jerseys on national television, have everybody see their names in the brackets, filling them out as you would normally do.
And not just be known as Miami of Ohio.
Yes, just to be Miami University.
Yes.
They would have been the only Miami in the playoff last year had I been able to draw up the bracket. They would have in a 12-team bracket had the 5th seed Georgia last year. But you know what? If you can tell your recruits that, hey, I can make it to the playoff, now you can start recruiting a little higher caliber of player. Because as it is right now, you've got an Alabama and Ohio State, a Georgia, a Clemson, and LSU, and they can basically take every 5-star recruit they want to because you're going to be able to play in a playoff, and half of the schools aren't even allowed to participate.
And
based on conference affiliation.
Miami of Oxford only has a Ben Roethlisberger, a one miracle guy in a generation.
Well, you know why they got Ben Roethlisberger?
No, I don't.
That's because he was behind another 3-year starter at Findlay High School. So he never actually got to start a game in high school until his senior year. The Big Ten had already offered all of the juniors of that class all of the scholarships for their quarterbacks. And so Ben comes out there as a senior for Findlay High School with no tape on him, has a very good senior year, and Miami of Oxford, Ohio decides, you know what, let's go ahead and give you a try here at quarterback. I think it worked out pretty well for the Miami Redhawks.
Absolutely, and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers have done pretty well with that as well. So, yes, so the first round of the playoffs will begin October 9th. I am particularly curious to see, after 5 football games, how coaches are going to be able to get together and have a vote. And I see that Joe Idle is going to keep his website, it looks like, up to date, and that'll be really interesting because one thing the coaches can do, I don't expect Larry Cox to know all about Canal Winchester or to know all about Sunbury Big Walnut.
The coaches in high school football are concerned with their own teams. I don't think they will know all that. I agree with you. I think using maybe Joe Idle's site with their computer points listed there could influence.
It's still going to be a coach's vote, but at least that way you're going to be able to have something with some sort of mathematical measure to kind of compare like schedules, because, yeah, Larry Cox is going to know how good Talawanda is, and he may be looking at his own team through rose-colored glasses, as I expect every coach thinks a little higher of their own team than a lot of other people will. And Larry Cox will probably know about Harrison and Talawanda, or Edgewood, and I think those are the only 2 Division IIs that he would have to worry about. I think Mount Healthy and Ross are Division III, and so is Northwest, so they wouldn't have to worry about those guys for seeding purposes in a tournament. But how do you know about those Columbus schools? And you don't even really know which Columbus schools or Dayton schools are going to be lumped into you, because that's going to depend upon how the OHSAA draws up the regions on September 18th.
Yes.
It's going to be really interesting.
It is.
We're going to come back and take a short break as the guys have got back onto the field and are getting ready to start the second half. It's halftime, and it's Talawanda 19 and Carroll 6.
Performance
Toyota Superstore invites you to save. Money, that is. Overstocked pre-owned vehicles have forced us to wholesale direct to you. Our loss is your gain. Everything is on sale. Cars, trucks, vans, SUVs. Every deal will be made. Keep your stimulus check and just show up and drive. If you want it, we've got it. Every style, every color, every model. It's used cars for everyone. Only at your Performance Toyota Superstore. Go to performancetoyotastore.com.
Hey, this is Talawanda's DeAndre Bofist Reveille, and you're listening to the Butler County High School Sports Reports Radio Network.
We are back here in Oxford and getting ready. The boys are taking the field, getting ready to start the third quarter of play. And yes, Danny, 16, 17-year-old boys, they're out there hitting each other. We saw Larry Cox before here in the press box. We asked him how he felt. He said he felt like a 16-year-old boy. He felt like he should be out there playing dodgeball, kickball in Mrs. Sarber's yard, and waiting for those 6 p.m. St. Anne's bells to give him his 5-minute warning that he better get his tail home before his mom beat himself up for being late for supper.
Larry Cox, an old Lindenwald boy like myself. Shout out to Hamilton, Ohio.
Good old
times.
St. Anne's pride, right? We had
the Bruins, go Bruins.
Larry and Billy, and then, of course, the late Danny Cox, who
Danny
just
Cox.
recently passed away a couple years ago, actually. It was not that long ago.
I played for St. Anne's in 4th and 5th grade. Danny Cox was a year in front of me. Played linebacker, stellar player, smart guy.
Goodness.
Smart guy.
Legendary St. Anne's family, the Cox family. They are all kids of Mary Lou, right?
That is correct.
Who used to work at Baden.
That's right.
For a very, very
Bill
long
Cox
time.
was my coach, too.
Bill Cox Sr.
Bill Cox Sr.,
When I played
yes.
6th grade for Billy Cox, he actually had a blocking dummy that he called Mary Lou. And we had to try to hit. He didn't have her picture on or anything else like that, but we had to hit his mother as hard as we possibly could.
Hello, Mary Lou.
Goodbye, heart. Thank you, Rick Nelson.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, we're back here, and Carroll is going to have to kick off because Talawanda is going to be starting with the ball in the third quarter. So Stephen Chapman lined up to kick for the Patriots, looking to catch lightning in a bottle here. They had a little momentum going for him in the second quarter and then lost it on Talawanda's last drive. Here comes the kick, and we're off in the third quarter of play. And it's going to be fielded by the Talawanda Brave. Very difficult, even harder to see the numbers here in these lights.
It's getting dusk here.
It is getting dusk here. The lights are going down. What did Journey say? The lights go down in the city.
But there is no bay for the sun
and the
to shine on.
red fades into gray. That's right.
Yes.
I agree with you, Dan. A little white outline on those red numbers would help us a long way to be able to tell you exactly who from Talawanda's got the ball.
Well, the scoreboard says the 42. Now they switch it. They're at the 28-yard line here.
28-yard line for Talawanda as they come out in their power T offense. Now with a 13-point lead, I know it's too early to be just flat out milking the clock, but the good thing Talawanda's got going for them is their normal offensive strategy is going to milk the clock naturally for them.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about playing catch-up football and getting out of their element, starting to throw the ball down the field.
Yeah, I think Talawanda, as long as they can play with the lead, is going to feel really good about themselves this season. Here's the power T. Here's the snap. Handoff to the right back over left tackle. And he's going to be caught for about a 3-yard gain. Looks like that carry was done by number 5. That's Tyler Teeters for the Brave.
Tackled by Jacob Williams, the senior for Carroll.
Very good. So it's a 3-yard run for the Talawanda. And if they can get about 5 or 6 yards every carry, they're going to feel great about it. If Carroll can get any less than about 3 yards, they're going to feel pretty good about forcing Talawanda into a passing situation on a 3rd and long here. It's going to be 2nd down and 7. This down will tell us a lot about how the rest of this drive is probably going to go here. Talawanda taking their time in the huddle already.
Yes, they are. They're almost kind of playing milk the clock.
Already.
Joel Sackenheim. Madden
Joel ball, right? 5 seconds left, says the back judge, as they go ahead and get down under center and snap the football. And that snap was a little bit late. Everybody on the offensive line moved just about maybe a quarter second before the ball was snapped.
False start.
It's going to be a false start on everybody other than the center, I think. That was going to be a handoff to DeAndre Bothus-Reveille. Looking at John Meese over there, wondering if he's got an everybody other than the center button on his laptop as he's keeping stats. Don't think they make that key, Dan.
No, they don't. Well, we got a 2nd and 12 coming up here, and I bet you they're going to still be in the power.
A running play here. I mean, they want to try to get this as little as they can for 3rd down. I believe John Fox of the old Carolina Panthers back in 2003 would call this staying on schedule. And right now that false start has not kept them on schedule. Power T formation. Here comes the snap. It's a handoff to the left back. That's DeAndre. Bothus-Reveille.
He only got 2 yards on that play, Joel.
He was met by a wall of Patriots, and Carroll's defense so far, a couple plays, they've got to get a critical stop on 3rd down here if they want to get the ball back to Ryan Chapman and their offense. It's only a 2-score game. Got 10.5 minutes left to go in the 3rd. This game is certainly not over yet by any stretch.
All right, Joel, we got 3rd and 9. This is a big down for Carroll. They can stop him here, get the ball back. They got him in an obvious passing situation. Let's see what they do here.
And it looks like they'll get decent field position if they can stop him here, too.
They have one wide out on the right.
Here comes your power T, or with only 2 running backs back there. It's a rollout to the left. That's not his natural throwing side. He fakes it and then throws it away right before he is sacked. And, yeah, Braden Wright, he is definitely more of a workman with the ball in terms of handoffs and tosses. Rolling him out to the left is very, very challenging, Dan.
Yeah, when you have a right-handed quarterback and you're rolling him out to the left, he has to stop, set his feet, throw the ball. I mean, outside of John Elway, it's hard for anyone to do that.
That's a challenge. I think, of all people, I think I remember seeing video that David Klingler, that was like the one thing he could do well. He had no offensive line to help him at all.
But he can roll out to the right and throw it straight. That was David's
That was his problem, right?
Yes, that was his problem.
My dad and Grandpa used to call him Clunker. Happy birthday, by the way, Dad and Grandpa. Dad turned 62 this week, and Grandpa would have been, 93 up in heaven?
Oh, my goodness.
Grandpa Neil?
That's tremendous.
Here we go. Punt formation for the Brave. Short snap. Whistle blows. And we're going to have a false start. And Talawanda actually might be very lucky about that false start, because that snap, if the punter was back about 15 yards to receive the snap, that snap went about 10.
I agree.
Bounced about 5 yards in front. Go ahead.
He called it on a bounce. It was like a shortstop there.
Would not have been the easiest thing. You wonder if Carroll actually goes ahead and tries to send a punt block in after seeing that snap. Talawanda's not had to punt often today. Punter back.
Carroll.
Snap, much better. Block coming, not there.
Nice kick.
Ball gone away. Good hang time. Fielded by Ethan Braun.
Ethan Braun breaks some tackles.
He's got about 15 yards and more.
Nice play.
He runs it up the right sideline. Didn't have a lot of room along the right side. He kind of snaked his way up. He is across midfield. He's actually across the 40-yard line. Dan's doing the math I can see on his fingers and toes right now.
17-yard return. They're all the way down to the 37.
All right, so the Carroll Patriots have a short field, and we'll be right back here in Oxford.
We thank you for listening to a live broadcast on the Butler County High School Sports Report's YouTube channel. We encourage you to check out our website at www.bchssreport.com for all your local prep sports results, stories, and student-athlete features. Enjoy the rest of the game.
We got a flag here. There's not a lot brewing here for the Carroll Patriots. Caudill catches about 5 yards on that run to daylight along the left side, but this thing is probably coming back. This play looked a little discombobulated from the beginning, Dan.
It's getting a little sloppy out here, I'll tell you. Flag on every play.
It's almost like they haven't played a scrimmage. It's almost like they just haven't been allowed to hit each other. I can't imagine why. Anything going on in the world that might cause that, Dan?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, just an odd off season, right? This is going to back Carroll up here. They're going to keep the down. It's going to be first down, and it looks like about 15 yards at about the 41-yard line for the Patriots. Now, we got about 9:20 and counting left to go in the third quarter. Carroll really does need to put some points up here to feel like they got a shot here in the fourth quarter of this game as we go from third to fourth. Carroll going from left to right. Man in motion. Throw into the flat to the man in motion. Caught. That's number 6, Sam Sievert. He's going to run it down to about the 31-yard line. Little swing pass there from Chapman to Sievert.
Tackle on a play by Nathan, my heavy metal man.
Deathridge. Oh, my gosh. My brother Luke would love Deathridge.
They put one album out back in 2003. Didn't sell many copies, Deathridge.
Well, if he plays really, really well, maybe if he gets a pick 6, we can call him Mega Deathridge, right?
Oh, my.
That's right. Second down and 4 for the Carroll Patriots. They picked up about 11 yards on that little swing pass there. Carroll can attack you, and Bird was right. Coach Bird was right. He can attack you in a variety of different ways. We've got a bunch formation here. They're going to send Caudill in motion to the other side, and a flag. It looks like somebody jumped. I think that was actually Sam Sievert on the left end there. He's not a lineman. He's one of the wide receivers that was in that bunch there off of the left side tight end.
It's going to push him back to a 2nd and 9 now.
Carroll has had some issues on this drive.
Well, I'll tell you, it was too bad that penalty happened because they had 3 guys on the left and only 2 guys defending on the left. That play would have worked.
They had some numbers there, it looked like.
They had the numbers.
I think Sievert got a little excited about it. Maybe he saw it too. Same formation here. Shotgun. Looks like an extra tight end of the line, 3-man trips, and a little shovel pass on the inside to Sievert. And he's going to run for a little bit of yardage. Across the 30, reaches out.
Hard
Great
running.
effort.
Great
effort. I think the referee is going to say, the side judge is going to say his knee was down with the ball at the 30-yard line before he leaped forward for those 2 extra yards that he might have had. It's going to be 3rd down and about 2.5 or 3 for the Patriots.
I think Nathan Deathridge was again on that tackle.
There you go, Deathridge. He's been everywhere on defense for the Talawanda Brave. 7.5 minutes left to go in the 3rd quarter here in Oxford.
3rd and 3 coming up.
At the Marvin Wilhelm Athletic Complex. How about it? It's a little nicer than the old Bauer Field, right?
I don't remember Bauer Field.
I played soccer on that. That thing had a crown to it like you wouldn't believe. Slant pattern, overthrown up the middle. The intended receiver on that play was Ethan Braun. Ball came out a little bit high from Ryan Chapman, and we'll see if Carroll. Our scoreboard keeper turns around and said, I remember Bowers Field. It was a grass field on their campus of their previous high school, a mud pit quite a bit, and it had a crown in the center of it sloping down to the 2 sidelines.
So when they said the running back was running downhill, he was
if he was running downhill, he was actually running from right to left or left to right to accomplish that. But not even for football so much, but for playing soccer, it really play with your mind a little bit because.
All right, look at this, Joel. 4th and 3, no punts, no field goals. They're going for it.
And I can't blame them here. Carroll looking over at the sideline, looking to Coach Bird to see what the play call is going to be. Whistle blows. Coach Bird wants a little more time to think about it, and we're going to take a little time and help him think about it as well. Timeout, Carroll. 7:05 remaining in the 3rd quarter. It's Talawanda 19 and the Carroll Patriots 6.
Hey, this is Joey Vogt for The Report. One thing we strive to do here at The Report is recognize the local high school student athletes and their accomplishments to the best of our abilities, which is the reason why we partnered up with Performance Toyota and Rick's Tavern to crown a Performer of the Week. We choose a student athlete from each of our coverage area schools from any sports and let family, friends, and your school vote in the Report's Performer of the Week poll on our website. Tell us who you think should be in our Performer of the Week poll, and most importantly, enjoy the rest of the broadcast.
Hey, this is Talawanda's DeAndre Blowfist Reveille, and you're listening to the Butler County High School Sports Reports Radio Network.
We are back here at the Marvin Wilhelm Athletic Complex. As, wow, score stream down below here. Danny's pointing to this. Has Fairfield leading Mason by a score of 5-3.
A 2-run homer.
2-run homer there, it looks like, in the top of the 3rd inning there for Fairfield. All right, 4th and 3 for the Carroll Patriots. Back to the matter at hand here. Shotgun formation, stacked receivers on left and right side. Man in motion now coming from right to left. And a false start on the right side of the offensive line. That would be Elliott Braun. Didn't get the snap count right for Carroll. That's going to push him back 5 yards. But honestly, from where they are, they still might end up going for this on 4th and 8.
I don't see why they wouldn't, honestly.
They're at the 35-yard line.
Joel, did you think the quarterback was trying to bark and get the defense to jump off sides there?
It's entirely possible. I mean, they had the man in motion there. He definitely gave kind of the silent count with the knee stepping up. I don't know why you need a silent count, although you hear a little bit of rumbling from the 15% occupied stands down below us. Man in motion, 4th and 8. Snap, toss, Caudill. He's got a block coming off the right side. Can he reach the corner? He's a yard short. He's a yard short.
He's a yard short. I'm trying to see who made the tackle.
We want to give credit to the tackle. We got red numbers on gray jerseys.
In the dusk.
22, say the statisticians. Davis Williams makes the first down saving tackle and gets the ball back to the Talawanda Brave young men from Oxford.
Davis Williams, 22, 165-pound, 5'8" bowling ball.
And he jumped. I mean, he left his feet and just lunged and knocked him out of bounds 1 yard short as Caudill was trying to stretch for that first down.
Big play for Talawanda there.
Huge. That could be a turning point in the game. If that drive continues, Carroll ends up inside the red zone most likely, and then we'll see how that all plays. Of course, everything else changes from this point on anyway. That's the way this always works.
Well, the way that Talawanda Brave has clock control, running the ball, you have to consider how many more possessions does Carroll have.
That's right. You need the points when you can get them if you're down by 13, because Talawanda's been moving the ball very effectively on offense. Even when they're not putting up points, they are chewing up decent chunks of clock here. Power T formation, handoff to the right tailback, over left guard. It's been the play that's been there all game long for Talawanda. We're looking for we got an injured Brave down. I think it's the guy that carried the ball. And he's
five was tackled by 5.
Okay, so Tyler Teeters was the ball carrier for Talawanda. I believe he's the one still sitting down on the field. It might be cramps of some sort. He looks like he's kind of stretching out his legs a little bit there. He's got the trainer coming out to him. Injury timeout on the field. Well, Dan?
Yeah, it's definitely cramps. I can tell they're stretching them right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So we'll keep it right here for a minute. Dan, we were talking about Talawanda going remotely to school. Carroll has opted for a different strategy with their school. They had their first week of in-person classes, and what they're doing is they're doing 4/5 in person this week, or this year. They're doing a Monday, Tuesday in person. They're doing Wednesday at home to do a deep clean.
Okay.
And then they're doing Thursday, Friday back in person again. So it kind of puts a little bit of a hole in the middle of their week where they have to go online for that one Wednesday every week. But they are at least able to see their friends, and they are able to see their teachers in person, face-to-face. I'm sure they're probably all social distance and wearing masks, as you see a lot of these classrooms have been doing. What about you with dentistry? What have you been doing COVID-related?
Well, that's a good question. The ADA, the ODA, and the CDC all had mandates for dentists. We were closed down from middle of March all the way through until May the 4th, when the Governor DeWine said we could go back. Well, we had to procure the PPEs, the special gloves, the masks. We have to ask our patients 14 questions. Hopefully all the questions, the answers are no.
The answers are supposed to be no.
If the answers are no, then they're cleared to come and have some dentistry.
Very good. Very good. You've worked some extra hours on Fridays and everything that you normally wouldn't have had to do to help the overflow.
Absolutely. And, people are understanding about this, and it's just a special time for everybody. It's a tough time, but, we're going to be resilient. We're going to get through this. Some smart scientist is going to get the vaccine for us. We'll just see when it happens.
I will say this, and without turning this thing into a political discussion on the air,
yes.
I think there are a lot of people that want to wear a mask because they want to help. There are a lot of people that don't want to wear a mask because they're worried about individual freedoms. And I think a lot of people have their hearts in the right place, even though they're coming to opposite conclusion as to exactly what the best thing they should be doing. So we're back in the power T formation here. 3 running backs again behind right. There's a toss sweep there, trying to get that from right to left, and that's going to be Matt kind of in the backfield, but he gained some yardage there. That's number 7, Casey Turman there on that carry, going from right to left. And another Talawanda Brave looks like he's cramping up, trying to get off the field.
Charlie Harlow on the tackle for Carroll, number 8.
Yep, and it looks like big number 76, Nathan Deathridge, your favorite guy, Dan.
Yes.
Looks like he's cramping up now down there. We're getting into the second half. It's not all that hot out tonight.
It's
I would
very
think,
humid,
but it is
Joel.
humid.
It's very
definitely humid. And lots of water, I guess, needed. These boys have not had to deal with a lot of the issues this year because they've not scrimmaged each other. They've only been going in practice. They've really been limiting the number of times they're allowed to hit each other in practice and so forth. So you're going to start seeing the second half of some of these games maybe a little bit of a cramp count.
Joel, educate me here. Are the rosters expanded in size because of the COVID?
Well, with high school football, there is no minimum roster size. We've got Joe Piper coming over here and waving in my face a sign that says, "It's air conditioned in here."
Well, in the booth, yes, it's air conditioned.
Yes, none of us here in the booth are cramping up because we're all sitting here in this glorious air conditioning. And while we're on the subject, Joe Piper, let's talk about the fact that Talawanda, of all schools, takes really, really good care of everybody in terms of food available in the press box. We've got some La Rosa's Pizza in here. We got some B-Dubs, Buffalo Wild Wings. We got some water there. And Talawanda is definitely known for its hospitality there, a lot compared to some of the other schools.
The Brave are coming through with the grub.
Very nice. I'm looking here at Twitter as the guy Deathridge is coming off now for Talawanda. It looks like Baden took the second half kickoff in their game, scored in 5 plays. missed extra point, and Baden has a 27-0 lead over the Ross Rams.
Other scores, we have Lakota East leading Sycamore 17-14. We have Lakota West and Colerain. Now that's a matchup, 0-0 at the half. Colerain and Lakota West, 0-0 at the half.
I wonder when I see a 0-0 score if that's accurate, if that just means somebody's not actually putting it in there, but we'll see. Handoff to DeAndre, going across, bouncing it outside to the right. He's got enough room, and he is going to be able to sneak his way outside for a first down on 3rd and 3 for Talawanda. That's their stud, DeAndre Bothus Reveille.
We'll call him DeAndre. It's short and sweet.
DeAndre BR, as it is with the air condition. DeAndre Brr. 1st and 10 for the Talawanda Brave here. We're down below 6 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Joel Sackenheim, Dan Vogt, glad to have you with us here on the Butler County High School Sports Report Internet Radio Network. Shout out, I think my mom and my stepdad are probably listening down in North Reddington Beach, Florida. They've been texting a little bit. So we got people from at least multiple states listening in on this Carroll-Talawanda game. 1st and 10. Snap given. Toss sweep. Over to the outside. And he's got a bit of a lane. That's number 7. That's Casey Turman with a nice 11-yard gain.
Ethan Braun again on the tackle. We've been calling his name a lot this evening.
He's had a lot of tackles, but Ethan Braun, I think the problem for Carroll is that Ethan Braun is a defensive back.
That's
and when you're playing, when you're trying to stop the run, if your defensive backs are the ones making most of the tackle, something has gone wrong.
Unless your name is David Fulcher.
Unless your name is, or Troy Polamalu.
There you go.
It's going to be another, it looks like they're going to be just a hair short. It looks like they're going to mark it 2nd down and a couple inches. They're not going to even send a measurement out.
The bean bag is about half a bag short.
Watch for the quarterback sneak here.
Good call.
Under center, they're going to hand it off instead to number 7. That would be Turman, and Turman is going to have enough for the first down for Talawanda.
Tackle by Matt June.
The kicker. No, Matt June's on Talawanda.
I'm sorry, Sam
Sievert. Exactly. But give credit where it's due. I'll tell you, Dan, it's my first game calling play-by-play. It's your first game on the radio. It's been a bit of a learning curve for us, though.
A little bit.
Makes us have a little more respect for the team that calls the Lions and Panthers games, right? Was it Bill Moss?
Sam Rosen.
Sam Rosen.
The old veteran.
Somewhere out there, Sam Rosen and Bill Moss are listening to this saying, see, guys, it's not that easy after all, is it?
No, it's not.
Here comes the snap. And it's a toss to the left side. It's number 20, the big guy, Austin Hearst, the fullback, and he's out of bounds for a gain of about 4 or 5 yards for Talawanda.
Run out of bounds by Andy Walker of Carroll.
There you go. It's going to be 2nd down and 5 for the Talawanda Brave, and more importantly maybe as they're across midfield and have claimed the field position again, which they had lost in the previous drive. You're down to 4 minutes.
The only thing that's stopping Talawanda is running out of bounds, basically.
This is true.
The clock is stopped now, and you know, that's something you got to think about here. We're 4 minutes, 18 seconds here in the third quarter.
This is very, very true, Dan. A lot of
Carroll
people
needs 2 possessions for scores. So
yeah.
They might get the ball 3 more times in this game. So 2 to the 3, they're going to have to score.
Here's a handoff to DeAndre Bothus Reveille, and he's got about 4 yards, and it's going to be my Joel Ball favorite, 3rd and 1.
3rd and 1.
When you're trying to run off a clock, 3rd and 1 is a glorious down and distance.
And Larry Cox will not have his quarterback in the shotgun at 3rd and 1.
No, he will not.
We have another
timeout. Injury for Talawanda. That might be DeAndre.
I hope not, for their sake.
For their sake. So we're going to go ahead and be right back here. We're going to take it away. 4 minutes and 4 seconds remaining in the third quarter. It's Talawanda 19 and Carroll 6.
We thank you for listening to a live broadcast on the Butler County High School Sports Report's YouTube channel. We encourage you to check out our website at www.bchssreport.com for all your local prep sports, results, stories, and student-athlete features. Enjoy the rest of the game.
Andre. Hate to speculate there, but he's kind of bent down talking to the trainers here, and his left arm doesn't look fantastic at this point.
No, he's kind of letting it hang. For Talawanda's sake, let's hope that young man is doing all right. They're giving him a big hand as he goes off the field here.
They are, and you can hear the crowd. I mean,
yes, you can.
This is something you have not been able to hear a whole lot of in the last 5 months, is an actual live crowd and group of people. So,
That's
wow,
true.
the referee already spots the bag ready for play and winds the clock. This is going to mean that Talawanda is going to have a hard time getting this next play off before a delay game penalty, because they're still in the huddle as if it was an injury timeout while the clock runs. It's going to be a 3rd and 1 here as we're down to 3:48 and counting.
It would be nice to have a play clock on this field so we could see.
It would be.
They're starting to hustle up to the line.
5 seconds left on the back judge. He'll hold his hand up there when there's 5 seconds left, and it looks like they got the snap off in time. Toss sweep over to Turman. He's going to try to bounce outside.
Oh.
Second effort, third effort. Bouncing off the Patriots right at the line of scrimmage, but he's not quite going to make it.
Joe, I couldn't catch the tackle, but, boy, it was a great effort.
Sam Sievert, I don't think, got the tackle on the play, but he did make one of the first bounces to force him to bounce even farther out east-west and let his buddies get there and wrap up the tackle. Ian Jankowski also involved in the play for Carroll. Now you have a 4th and 1 at the 35-yard line. So, again, if Talawanda can get the first down here, all that last play does, spend a little Carroll defensive energy and take another 30 seconds off the clock.
That's correct. It's eating the clock.
People don't realize with clock management, I know no one wants to say clock management, but every time you run the ball out of bounds, that's 30 seconds that you could be taking off the clock that you're not. And I know it's only the 3rd quarter, and I know it's only a 13-point game, but it adds up over several plays. You do that 6 times, that's 3 minutes.
4th and 1.
And a jump into the neutral zone.
Great
and
play.
He was not drawn off. This is going to be a shoot foot penalty here on the Carroll Patriots. Pull gun, shoot foot, not good.
Quarterback barked him off with a cadence. He barked him off.
It's another Aaron Rodgers-like move.
Yes.
Poor Dan. The plight of a Lions fan. Hey, the Panthers had a bad draft pick this year, too. We'll see how Teddy Bridgewater does.
You've been
for
to
them.
a Super Bowl, my friend.
Yes, I've been to 2. My boys have been to 2. And I don't know what it's like to win one, but I do know what it's like to have your boys go there. 1st and 10 on the 30-yard line. Here comes the snap and a toss to the big guy. That's Austin Hearst. He tucks it inside. Didn't have a lot of room to the outside, so he went ahead and jumped in, went north-south, got 5 yards.
Tyler Teeters on a tackle. He's been busy today.
Yeah. Braun. Ethan Braun. Carroll. Yeah, we will get this down. We got 6 games to get this down. And we will. And we will. Oh, my gosh.
We're under 2 minutes here in the 3rd quarter. This is exactly what I was saying earlier, how Talawanda can control the clock with their –
Whether or not Talawanda scores on this drive is the least really of their concern. They're getting a big chunk of time off. Snap, handoff, right side going to the left. That would be, if I can see the number there on who got that carry. I think that's probably, once again, Turman.
Gage Plathenthal.
With the tackle.
Tough guy to say.
Plathenthal. There you go. There you go.
Sound like I was numb on that play. Plathenthal.
A little too much Novocaine there, Dan. Give him a bilateral numbing and let him go to town, right?
You know too much, Joel.
That's what happens when one of your best friends in the world is a dentist.
Thank you, sir.
You learn all the dental terms, so to speak. So we're down below a minute left to go in the 3rd quarter. Talawanda's going to be able to run at least one more play, maybe 2, depending on how this times. It is 3rd down.
2.
If they get the first down, it'll stop the clock momentarily.
Ooh.
Hand off to the fullback up the middle. He's getting nowhere, and he fumbles the football.
Fumbles the ball.
And coming up with it was the guy who stripped it. That's your guy, Gage Plathenthal for the Carroll Patriots. He went ahead, saw Austin Hearst. He met him in the hole, drove him back, and then stripped the ball out on their way down and fell on top of the football. Great play.
Superhuman effort there by Gage.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm not going to say his last name.
Plathenthal?
There you go. Thank you.
There you go. There you go. So the Carroll Patriots. The good news for the Patriots, they stop the drive and give up no points to Talawanda.
And they stopped the clock.
And they stopped the clock. The bad news for them is they're down to 29 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Larry Cox's boys were able to drive about 60 yards there of field and took a good chunk of time in being able to do that.
I think you're going to see Carroll start to wing it, spread the offense.
We're going to get a look at how the hurry-up works with the beanbag. I'm
That's
curious
right.
how that looks. I seriously want to see
what
this
too.
looks like. 2 running backs now, first time all day long. One of them goes in motion, shotgun. Quarterback draw right up the middle, and that's not going to get anywhere for Carroll's quarterback, Ryan Chapman. We're going to have about a 1-yard gain at most. I don't think he even got that.
No.
It's going to be 2nd down and 10, and the other thing that play does, being a draw play up the middle, is those 29 seconds are going to result in exactly 1 down that Carroll's going to be able to run. That is going to end the third quarter of play. Nobody scored in the third. That's just fine in Larry Cox's eyes. It's Talawanda 19 and Carroll 6 from Oxford on the Butler County High School Sports Report Radio Network.
Performance Toyota Superstore invites you to save. Money, that is. Overstocked pre-owned vehicles have forced us to wholesale direct to you. Our loss is your gain. Everything is on sale. Cars, trucks, vans, SUVs. Every deal will be made. Keep your stimulus check and just show up and drive. If you want it, we've got it. Every style, every color, every model. It's used cars for everyone. Only at your Performance Toyota Superstore. Go to performancetoyotastore.com.
Football of the Butler County High School Sports Report Radio Network is brought to you by Performance Toyota, our corporate sponsor. Never pay more with the Shop Route 4, Performance Toyota. The Tandy Steel, a proud sponsor of Baden Athletics, and Rick's Tavern and Grill, located on Route 4 in Fairfield, are a Performer of the Week gift certificate sponsor. Well, Matandi Steel sponsoring Baden Athletics. Chris Vogt, Joey Vogt didn't get as good of a game as we got over here. Baden just took a 34-0 lead on the Ross Rams. And it's funny, Ross had never beaten Baden until last year, week 1. And Baden, I think, is making it darn good and sure that they don't ever want Ross to beat them again.
Beating them in the playoffs.
Say that one more time.
I said including beating Ross in the playoffs.
Including the playoff win by about 30 points last year. That's right.
Here we go.
Shotgun formation. Slant pass. Little bit underthrown, looking for his brother. That was the Chapman to Chapman attempted connection. It falls harmlessly incomplete to the turf. It'll be 3rd down and 10. And Dan, you know what the one difference is between that incomplete pass and the previous quarterback draw, both of which gained 0 yards?
Stops the clock, sir.
Stops the clock, sir.
That's right, Joel.
For this entire fourth quarter, we should be looking at Talawanda trying to keep this clock moving and Carroll trying to go ahead and find ways to stop this clock as often as humanly possible. So we are here in the fourth quarter, 11:57 remaining in this, as Marty Brenman would call, Titanic struggle. Trips receivers to the bottom. Carroll going from right to left on your computer screen. Chapman in the shotgun. He's been the shotgun all day long. Man in motion, that's Ethan Braun. Snap made. He's got Braun up the middle. He looks for him. Throws it too high. Tipped by Talawanda in coverage. He was looking for his man in motion. Braun. Can't see who got that. Again, it's the darker it gets, the harder red numbers on gray jerseys become to see. I can see the letters Talawanda in white really, really prominently on these gray jerseys.
Yes.
But the numbers not quite so much. So it's another incomplete pass, and it is 4th down and 10 for Carroll. And the Patriots are going to have to punt the football. Or they could try a 90-yard field goal from here if they wanted.
Well, we did not ask that question at halftime.
Dick Ballard has told me that at church many times. He's sworn by that. Good hang time on this punt.
Wow.
Goes back, muffed, and recovered. And the whistle had blown already because he had actually fair caught it before he muffed it, and then goes ahead and recovers it. And that looks like it's Casey Turman there recovering that muffed.
So that's an interesting rule there in high school that I wasn't aware of. So
you call the fair catch, you muff it, you pick it up, and it's still the fair catch still applies.
Even though you fumble it.
Even though it's a muff, not a fumble.
That's interesting.
And the other reason why I don't correct you just to be a jerk,
I know.
The muff and a fumble, the difference between that is a muff cannot be advanced. If Carroll would have been able to get that football and still have their feet on the ground, they would not have been able to then run it any farther on a muff. A fumble, of course, once you gain possession of the punt return, then get stripped, it can be advanced. So here we go. Go ahead.
I'm going to give you 99-1 odds that Talawanda runs on all these 3 plays.
I've played enough games of Madden to know what I'd do here, and I think Larry Cox is thinking the same thing with his controller on the sideline there. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Both of these teams start conference play up next week. How about that? Talawanda, it looks like next week will be going to Harrison to play the Wildcats. This is a toss sweep. DeAndre's back in the game, and he fumbles the football at the end of his run. And that is recovered by Steven Chapman. That was a toss sweep from the left to the left halfback around the right end. He gained about 15 to 20 yards on that play and then coughed the football up at the end of the run. So the plot thickens, and the Carroll Patriots will have another opportunity to try to cut this thing down to a one-score game.
Joel, they're near midfield here. They're at the 47.
They got field position. You got another Talawanda lineman out there kind of stretching his leg a little bit, not wanting to go down with another cramp, but you can tell that the humidity is really getting to some of these guys that have not played a football game. So Carroll back out here on offense. Carroll's offense has not done really anything all day other than the one quarterback zone read that was a 70-yard scramble by Chapman. Chapman, speaking of which, runs that exact same zone read. I guess Bird was thinking the same thing I was. Let's do the one play that's worked. That time, instead of about 70 yards, they get 0 yards as Talawanda reads that properly.
We have another Talawanda player down.
Oh, my goodness. Is that the same guy that was trying to stretch earlier? Is that 66? Can you tell?
I can't
really tell who that is on the ground.
They're saying thumbs up.
They're saying thumbs up. That was Nathan Durthridge. He was down earlier for cramps. And after that last fumble.
Oh, he's cramping up.
After that last fumble by DeAndre Bothus-Reveille, he actually, when trying to go back to the defensive huddle, was kind of stretching his own leg out a little bit there. He runs the play defensively, and now he's down again with a cramp. So lots of stretching going on here, lots of water and hydration required here for Larry Cox's team. So, Dan, the Little Miami is now out of the SWAC. They joined the ECC. Along with Lebanon being poached from the GWAC, and those two are going over to playing against teams like Kings and Anderson and Loveland, and that's going to be really good for those guys because this was a long bus ride for Little Miami all the way out there in Morrow, having to come here to Oxford for a road game, over to Edgewood, over to Harrison, over to Ross. There weren't a lot of conference rivals that were particularly close.
Little Miami had a heck of a season last year.
They did. They made it to the playoffs as an 8 seed, and the year before that was when Coach Mahan broke through before he joined Hamilton. And that team, I think, went 7-3 that year and knocked off Edgewood in a 4-5 playoff game at Kumler Field a couple years ago.
I do believe we're going to see Little Miami later on our schedule together.
We might. That'd be pretty cool if we were able to do that. I'd enjoy seeing them and seeing what's become of Coach Mahan's program that he has left out there in Morrow a couple years ago. But Wilmington actually was part of this conference. It was an 8-team conference for a little bit of time. Wilmington was even farther out than Little Miami.
Goodness, that's
But at least
far
it
away.
gave them each other to play. Wilmington left several years ago. I think they've been an independent for a while, or even maybe playing with Goshen and some of those guys even farther east.
Trivia, Wilmington was the former home of a professional football team in the offseason.
In the offseason?
Yes.
And we're not talking about the Bengals?
No, it's the Bengals.
It is the Bengals. Okay,
yes.
I knew their training camp was there at one point in time.
Yes,
I didn't know if you were going way back to the Dayton Triangles era.
No.
And by the way, as we comment on the Talawanda Braves versus Brave or whatever, we've not called them the Talawanda football team tonight, like the Washington Redskins have become the Washington football team. Kind of sounds very much like a 1920s name, like the Akron Pros and the Dayton Triangles, the Washington football team.
Very generic.
Very generic. Shotgun. Lets her rip. Up to his brother. Chapman to Chapman. They got the connection going. He jumped up over DeAndre Bothus-Reveille on defense. And that is Steven Chapman coming down with a big gain.
Very similar to his touchdown catch. He just
jumped everybody. That's right. That's exactly right. Well, I think it was Braun that caught the touchdown. It was the same type of thing. Same type of thing. It was jumping really high, skying over the defensive back there, and his brother trusted him on the play. We're at the 25-yard line now for the Patriots, and they're down to 10:30 left to go. Not desperate time for Carroll yet. They've got time to pull this thing off. They can't dilly-dally too much, though. Trips receivers to the right side of the formation. And Chapman looks, unloads it to the end zone to the corner, and is intercepted right around the 5-yard line. Didn't make it all the way to the end zone and run all the way back out to about the 28-yard line for Talawanda. That's a game-changing play.
That is a tough play.
They had 3 receivers on the right side of the formation. Chapman basically kind of threw that thing blind.
Yes, he did. Do you think he underthrew him, or he just kind of threw it up there hoping the guy would make a play?
It could be either one. I mean, this is something that Coach Bird and his sophomore quarterback making his first start, been waiting as a freshman. He's not very experienced. He's very talented. He's got a very live arm, Coach Bird said. But these are the things that are going to give him experience and helping him to be able to read that. It definitely ended up underthrown.
Yes.
And it looked like he was trying to hit Braun going toward the pylon there on the top right of what would be your internet computer screen.
Well, Ryan's future is going to be good. He's a sophomore. He's going to get that valuable experience.
He's got time. He's replacing Trent Fox, who just graduated Carroll and led the GCL in passing last year, the GCL co-ed. So they're also down to 6 teams in their conference. Talawanda and Carroll both have a 6-team conference, which means both of them play this one non-conference game tonight, and then we'll have their entire conference schedule weeks 2 through 6.
Wow, that 6-game season is hard to get used to.
Oh, bobbled snap, and it looks like the quarterback, Braden Wright, does fall on it and able to fall forward to get maybe a yard off of that. That's not exactly what you draw, but it does take a good 30 seconds off the clock at least.
Yes, it does.
So, yes, so Talawanda will play at Harrison next week. The Carroll Patriots will be on the road again next week against Chaminade Julienne. The Dayton Catholic School rivalry going on there. Not too bad.
It's a tough game for him.
Yes, I mean, CJ was very, very good last year. I think they were the #1 seed in Division III Region 12 until they lost to Alter back-to-back weeks. Alter knocked them off to get into the playoffs as the 8th seed and then knocked them off again the next week to eventually play Baden, where they lost in the second round of the playoffs. Toss sweep up the middle. Another rugby scrum is going to get him a couple more yards for Talawanda. Ethan Braun will make the stop for the Patriots, and it's going to be 3rd down for the Brave and 3rd down and about 7 yards or so for Talawanda.
They're keeping that clock running. We're down to 9 minutes to go in the ball game.
How brave are you if you're Talawanda on this play call, Dan?
I throw to the tight end here.
Okay, little play action?
No, I run the ball.
Keep the ball on the ground. I mean, your
Absolutely.
defense is only giving up one real big play all day long.
You run the ball.
I mean, a punt here is not a bad thing.
No, and you have said that many times.
Well, John Fox taught me that one, too, as a Panther fan. A punt is not a – Chicago Bears know this, too. Punt is
Look
not
at this. They're going to pass.
They're going to go do the rollout underneath it, and he dropped the football that was intended for Tyler Teeters in the flat. I don't know if he caught that ball, if he would have been able to turn upfield and get enough yards for the first down. It was about a 3-yard pass in the air, which left him about 4 more yards to get after the catch. He might have been able to get it. He might have not, but he turned around a little too quickly and didn't quite have the football secured. Didn't make, as they say, a football move, right, Dan?
No. Calvin Johnson could tell you all about that.
Not that you would know.
No.
Oh. 4th
and 7 here.
Talawanda's going to be punting this football, and why wouldn't they, the way their defense is playing today?
Absolutely.
We're down to 8:31 remaining. Here comes the snap, and there's a flag, so nothing's going to happen. Carroll was rushing that punter, and it's going to be a false start. I think a couple of Talawanda players might have been a little nervous about that possible punt rush coming up. If you look at Carroll and you've not been able to get your offense really clicking against Talawanda's defense, a blocked punt here might be their best way to try to, I don't want to say get back in this game. They're not out of it, but they just haven't been able to capitalize on any opportunities they've had.
I mean, they've stayed close in it throughout the game, but it just feels like they just need a big play.
Something to go their way. If they can get the thing within even a 1-score game, then any one play could then end up deciding it, but they've not been able to cut it down here. Here comes the big punt rush.
They almost blocked it.
Almost. Hangs up there. It's a short punt with a good deal of hang time. Bounces sideways a couple times. And Carroll, if anybody in Dayton's listening to this, here's your field position. You're starting across midfield at Talawanda's 47-yard line.
Just a 22-yard punt there, Joel.
How about it? How about it? So Talawanda doing basically what they can to play good defense and to work on the clock and that's been their saving grace in the second half. Carroll has had opportunities.
Yes, they have.
But they've not been able to really take full advantage of them. Here comes another one, but now that you're down to 8:20, you got to figure you might only see 2 more possessions, and you need to score on both of them if you're the Patriots. Talawanda, of course, would love to get another stop. Here comes shotgun formation for the Patriots. You got 2 receivers at the top, extra H-back in there for some extra protection for quarterback Ryan Chapman. Chapman goes ahead and hands it off to Caudill up the middle. That's going to be costly in terms of time and only productive of 2 yards in terms of yardage. They're out to the 45-yard line, and it's going to be 2nd down and 8 as the clock continues to bleed under 8 minutes remaining for the Patriots.
Interesting call there, and they're really taking their time getting this play in.
Yeah, they're not really in as hurry up as you might think they would have been.
No.
And Talawanda is perfectly cool with that. Larry Cox has no problem. You take as long as you want to, guys. 3 receivers to the bottom side of the formation. Caudill in motion out of the backfield. Slant pass, inaccurate. Threw it behind his man. Talawanda interception. Is that DeAndre?
That's DeAndre.
Looks like that might be DeAndre Bothus-Reveille who made that
flag.
interception. And a late flag on the play after the tackle was made. That was an attempted slant pass to Stephen Chapman, and Ryan Chapman simply threw that ball behind his receiver.
I'm interested to see what this late flag is going to be. Someone might have lost their cool over there on the sidelines.
It's got to be a frustrating experience for Carroll to have all these opportunities and not be able to do anything with them, as Talawanda once again is given the football. Somewhere out there, Cam Newton's going to look at that game film and say, I've made that throw before.
Speaking of Cam, you being a Panther man,
yes.
How do you think he's going to work with the Patriots this year? I think he's going to win the job, be the starter.
I agree. I agree.
What do you think? You think Belichick is going to put up with his antics? Well, if he fumbles the ball, will he dive for it, Joel?
Oh, that's a bad Super Bowl memory there. Exactly. No, I mean, Cam is apparently a wonderful leader, and everything you hear from players that play with him say he's very inspirational, and they love playing it with him.
Well, he inspired Bill Belichick to have better fashion. That's the question.
Belichick, you got the most fashionable quarterback and the least fashionable coach, right?
Absolutely. Something's going to happen.
Power T formation on the 35-yard line, their own 35 for Talawanda. DeAndre, very patient run up the middle, is going to get 7 yards going up between the right guard and the right tackle for Talawanda.
Earlier, you called him Le'Veon Bell type running.
That was another one, wasn't it?
That was a beautiful Le'Veon Bell type run.
And for those of you that know what this looks like, as your running back getting the ball and not just hitting the hole as fast as you can, but kind of meandering your way kind of between
bobbing
blockers
and weaving, waiting.
Kind of almost like using them as basketball screens in a way.
Absolutely.
Very patient for DeAndre. He looks good out there. 2nd down and 3.
You can tell why Larry Cox was so high on him in the pregame.
Very much so. Very much so. DeAndre, I believe, is only a junior, which means that he's got yet another year to play for Talawanda next year.
Got another running play. I could not see who it was, but we're down to 6 minutes to go. It's 3rd and 2.
Yep, 3rd and 2 for the Talawanda Brave. We're down below 6.5 minutes. And again, if you're going to take 3 plays to get a first down instead of 1 play to get a first down, you're bleeding an extra minute or so off the clock every time you make that exchange. Talawanda doesn't need to score on this drive. Talawanda doesn't need to do anything on this drive. Just keep the chains moving, 3 plays at a time. Was it 3 yards in a cloud of field pellets? Rubber pellets.
I hope we do a grass game this year, Joel.
Yeah, grass games.
Little Miami has grass, don't
they
they?
do not. They do not.
Don't?
Madison has grass.
Madison has grass.
DeAndre, this is a more powerful run. Right up the middle, and he's just bouncing off of players. He got about 20 yards on that carry, and that time he hit the hole and hit it hard.
Truck stick.
Truck
Absolutely.
stick. He was very not patient on that run. It was, I need 2 yards. Darn it, I'm hitting that hole. I'm going to get 2 yards. And then he just kept going and going.
Impressive run. That might do it.
That's the type of run that just rips your heart out, and Carroll is going to take a timeout on defense here. So we're going to step away with 5:47 remaining in the fourth quarter. It's Talawanda 19 and Carroll 6.
Performance
The Superstore invites you to save. Money, that is. Overstocked pre-owned vehicles have forced us to wholesale direct to you. Our loss is your gain. Everything is on sale. Cars, trucks, vans, SUVs. Every deal will be made. Keep your stimulus check and just show up and drive. If you want it, we've got it. Every style, every color, every model. It's used cars for everyone. Only at your Performance Toyota Superstore. Go to performancetoyotastore.com.
Hey, this is Talawanda's DeAndre Bofist Reveille, and you're listening to the Butler County High School Sports Reports Radio Network.
All right, we're coming out of a timeout here. Joel Sackenheim, Dr. Dan Vogt. Pleased to have you with us here from the Marvin Wilhelm Athletic Complex in Oxford, Ohio. 5:47 remaining in this ball game. Talawanda, very workmanlike effort, Dan, in controlling this game.
Very bait and ram-like, I would say.
Think Coach Malone down in heaven is looking at what Larry Cox is doing and saying, yeah, I think I taught him a few things.
You are my disciple, my son. Follow my lead.
Well, as Grandpa Sack would always used to say, it's not bragging if you can do it.
That's wise
That's what
words.
he'd do. He'd sit
Wise
back there and
words.
say, well, Joel, I'll tell you one thing. It's not bragging if you can do it.
Now, why did Uncle Neil always call him the Celtics? Not the Boston Celtics. He called them the Celtics.
Oh, my grandpa mispronounced everything.
I loved him,
Service merchandise was merchant service dice.
That's a classic.
And UDF was the National Dairy Bar.
That's where he got his ice cream, huh?
That's where he got his ice cream.
The National Dairy Bar.
And his white Zinfandel on the Franzia box. Power T formation for Talawanda coming out. Toss sweep coming around the right side. He's got a bit of a seam here. Stiff arms the guy. First down. Big run there, and he's still down. I'm trying to see who exactly this is. That might have been Teagan.
Adam Franklin.
No, it was not Teagan. It was Turman. Turman with the run.
And Adam Franklin with the tackle. He stiff-armed him, and he fell 6 yards forward. That's how great of a stiff arm
that
it was.
That was a fantastic stiff arm. And big yardage for Talawanda there as Carroll's defense is sucking some wind. And that's the thing about facing a running game is when you can't defend the run, it really starts to gnaw at you both mentally and physically.
It's demoralizing because you just can't stop it. You know it's gonna come, and you just can't stop it.
They're coming right down your throat, and you just got to find a way to do something about it. And Talawanda's O-line blasting off, handoff up the middle. And again, the first contact we're seeing now at this point in time is 5 to 7 yards downfield. Nobody's touching the runner. Once again, that looks like it's Turman on the carry for Talawanda.
He spun away, broke tackles. What's that, an 9-yard gain?
9 yards.
That's impressive.
Didn't get touched until after he'd already run 5, and then he spins and bounces off a guy and falls forward and gets 4 more.
Joel, they're at the 14 here. They're putting a nail in the coffin, as they say.
That's right. We're down below 5 minutes left to go in the game. If Talawanda can score here, they'll be up by 3 scores. If they can't score here, they're going to give Carroll terrible field position. Less than 4 minutes left to go at that point in time, and 2 scores to be down. Either way, Talawanda's in great shape here.
And they're very well disciplined. They're letting that clock run all the way down before they snap the ball.
They're not even breaking the huddle until there's 5 seconds left to go. And, wow. With the back judge having his hand up in the air, which means there's 5 seconds or less left to go in the play clock, they're breaking the huddle with 5 seconds left to go, getting set in position and still having enough time to run a hard count to be able to get a defender to possibly jump over the line.
Which is what they just did.
First down, Talawanda, and that's going to put them inside the 10, so it's 1st and goal now at the 9-yard line. I mean, at some point in time, if you're Carroll, I know you can't see their own back judge behind you, but you got to think if they're not breaking the huddle until 5 seconds left on the play clock.
Yeah, I don't know how the hard count worked in that situation.
My goodness. Here's the snap. There's the handoff. Turman. And he's got it down to the 1-yard line, maybe the 2. His knee might have hit down with the ball at the 2 before he stretched it out.
Tackled by Big Cole Ryan.
Big Cole Ryan.
From Carroll. He's one of the captains.
There you go. There you go. Well, this night has not gone as well as Carroll would have liked it to. Talawanda's going to be thrilled by this. But, you know, the one good thing, Dan, is
What's that?
they're playing.
Well, they're
playing
bringing
a high school football game.
That's all you can ask for.
You know, this is great. And when Coach Bird of Carroll says we got to earn our next week, he's not talking about a win or a loss. He's talking about staying healthy and getting everybody through classes without getting everybody infected. Handoff. Turman through the middle. He's diving toward the goal line, and I don't think he quite made it. His fullback lead blocker made it into the end zone, but he did not.
I was going to tell you, Joel, they snuck in my freshman Devon Butts, the 320-pounder. He was in right then on the tackle.
The freshman.
The freshman. He must be the short yardage specialist this freshman year because he is making a tackle every time he's in there.
He's going to be a force to be reckoned with coming up as a freshman.
If he keeps eating, he'll be 400 pounds.
I hope he doesn't get that big. That's heavy, 400. But 320 as a nose tackle as a freshman
just looks
in high
huge.
school.
He looks huge there.
You can see him. He takes up physical space and makes it more difficult to be able to run through. So here we go. The beanbag's on the 1 yard line. The football's there. We're down below 2.5 minutes left to go. And this game-clinching drive, what probably looks like. And through the middle, it is.
Touchdown.
And it is a touchdown. Who was the ball carrier? I couldn't even tell who the ball carrier was on that. Casey Turman.
Yes.
Turman, they've been feeding the beast.
The Terminator.
The Terminator. And he's just terminated this game. 25-6. Talawanda has the lead late in the fourth quarter of this game. And it's all but decided here. It's all over but the shouting, as they say, up here in Oxford. Larry Cox going to have a lot of good things. Go ahead.
A workmanlike performance.
Yeah.
That's all you can say. They just came out and bust them up front, dominated the line of scrimmage, just ran the ball down their throats. Just domination at the line.
Total control. Here comes the extra point. It is down. It is kicked up. It is through the uprights. It is good. And so, with 2:21 remaining in the fourth quarter of this ball game, the Talawanda Brave take a commanding 26-6 lead over the Carroll Patriots. We'll be right back.
We thank you for listening to a live broadcast on the Butler County High School Sports Report's YouTube channel. We encourage you to check out our website at www.bchssreport.com for all your local prep sports, results, stories, and student-athlete features. Enjoy the rest of the game.
Hey, this is Talawanda's DeAndre Bofist Reveille, and you're listening to the Butler County High School Sports Reports Radio Network.
You know, Dan, my mother just sent me a text message with a palm tree in it. And she might think she's making me jealous, but honestly, she can keep her palm tree. I'm here in Oxford, Ohio, looking at a high school football game with my buddy Dan Vogt. This ain't bad.
This ain't bad at all. I've been cooped up in the basement as a hermit and doing dentistry, and that's about it. And that's not a fun life. But this football, it's tremendous.
I think they make musicals about such horrible things. 2:21 left to go in this game here up at Oxford at the Marvin Wilhelm Athletic Complex.
Well, we will get through this COVID, my friends. We will.
We will. Looks like over there down at Robinson Field, Baden has taken a 41-7 lead now over Ross, as the Baden Rams are fully in command. And I guess any questions about Landon Vitterick taking over, they're ready to roll there.
Yes, they are.
For Nick Yorty. Return coming out. Right. He's got a seam. That would be Sam Sievert, and we got a flag. We're in the middle of the return. That's actually not Sievert. That's actually number 5, Ethan Braun, with the return. He ends up all the way down at the Talawanda 20-yard line. An enormous, 80-yard return, 60-yard return, something of that nature?
But the flag is back at about midfield.
We got 2 different flags now. One of them on the Carroll side of the field and one on the Talawanda side of the field, both close to midfield. We may have 2 penalties on this play. Looks like a hold on Carroll. Maybe it's only 1 penalty and just seen from 2 different angles of referees. But that hold is going to take away and negate a lot of that yardage there. Whichever site the penalty happened at is going to be a 10-yard walk-off from there. So we'll have to see which of the 2 flags is actually the site of the penalty.
You can blame a lot of these penalties on the virus and the effect because they're not doing the scrimmages like they should. This is almost like a scrimmage to them, even though it's a real game.
Well, it's a real game that at times looks like a preseason game.
Exactly.
I kind of wonder, and you and I are both big National Football League fans.
Oh.
I kind of wonder what Week 1 is going to look like in the NFL. Chiefs and Texans on September 10th, and then the rest of Week 1 coming up.
Well, I read that the Bears announced that they're going to have 2 kickers on their team just because of the COVID virus. They don't want to be left
without a kicker.
Without a kicker.
Oh, that's interesting.
And if you ask my buddy Matt Vogt there about Bears kickers, he has some issues with the Bears kickers.
Oh, Cody Parkey?
Yes.
That was a blocked field goal 2 years ago, by the way.
Yes, it was.
It was statistically a blocked field goal. I don't want to hear this double doink anymore about this. It's a blocked field goal. Short little button hook route there from Chapman to Chapman. It is complete, but he is tackled inbounds, and it is not a first down, which means the clock will continue to run as if it was a running play. 7-yard gain on the quick little button hook, and now we're seeing the no-huddle offense being run by Carroll. It's probably a little too late. Pass out to the flat, intended for Adam Franklin. It is incomplete, and that will stop the clock.
We're at 1:45 to go in the game, and I would have liked to seen Carroll run this hurry up a little earlier, maybe midway through the third quarter or even early into the fourth quarter.
You almost wonder with the hurry up, it does a couple of things, one of which is it kind of discombobulates some of your offense a little bit if you can't communicate very well. But on the other side, it also simplifies the defense you're having to go against. They can't cover everybody with more exotic coverages and whatnot.
And plus, you wanted to see how the beanbag would work with
the
hurry up.
Of course,
yes,
that's
and
right.
We can watch it now and see what happens.
It's weird seeing a center with a football in his hand walking up to the line of scrimmage.
It's like
and
backyard
placing the ball
football.
on the beanbag. It is like backyard football. That's right. Shotgun formation. Handoff to Caudill. That's not going to – and he coughs up the ball on top of it. Oh, my goodness. Wow. And the Talawanda Brave have recovered. That's number 22. That red text is shining in the bright lights, Friday night lights, and that is Davis Williams.
Davis Williams, the junior running back / linebacker. A lot of players on Talawanda are going both ways here.
That's the third time I think we've called his name out tonight. And Coach Cox loves Davis Love III, Davis Williams for Talawanda. We're down to 1:37 left to go as Dan and I get a little bit slap happy here as we hit the witching hour.
I've enjoyed it. This is great.
We get 6 weeks of this together, sir, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
I hope we have 6 weeks.
Yeah,
let's pray we
let's
all stay healthy.
Optimistic.
Stay healthy.
That's right. That's right.
Do everything we're supposed to do.
Social distance where you need to.
Absolutely.
Wear your mask if you're going to be closer than 6 feet together or anything of that nature, you know.
Absolutely.
Do your best thing because we need our football season because otherwise your mother will be sending you a text of a palm tree and there ain't nothing you can do about it if you can't go to a high school football stadium.
Or I'll be watching Garbage Sports.
Cornhole on ESPN 8, the Ocho.
Yes, sponsored by Johnsonville Brats.
Sponsored by Johnsonville Brats.
What a gig Johnsonville has there. They sponsor the cornhole players.
It was so nice the last couple days to watch or to listen in the Sirius XM radio in the truck to Milwaukee Brewers baseball against the Reds as Talawanda takes a knee here with 1:30 left and we're counting because as a semi-truck driver, I got the Sirius XM radio, which means I get the home radio broadcast of all the baseball games. Yeah, I get Tommy and the Cowboy when the Reds are a great American, but when they're in Milwaukee like they were this past week, it's Bob Uecker and Jeff Levering.
Bob Uecker out in the front row.
Must be in the front row when you hear Bob Uecker talking about not Johnsonville Brats, but Usinger sausages. Usinger and baseball, it's just not summer without them.
Anybody wants to see Bob Uecker, I recommend you go to YouTube and look him up when he was on the Johnny Carson show back in the day, and then later on the David Letterman show. He is a riot. He tells the stories. Such self-deprecating humor.
For all the people that were out here that are my age listening in on this, Johnny Carson was a television host back in the day that used to host the NBC Tonight Show before Jay Leno did. For those of you that are high schoolers listening in, David Letterman used to be a host.
Yeah, we're old. I'm old. He
used to have Stephen Colbert's job. For those of you that remember that back that far.
We're down to 24 seconds to go.
And that's going to be the ball game. We're going to look and see if we have any kind of post-game handshake. This is interesting here to me, Dan, to watch here, to see, because on one hand, they're not going to want to do any kind of handshake due to COVID. And
right.
On the other hand, they've been hitting each other and running power T formations all night long. So let's see what happens here. It looks like Talawanda's bench has come out toward the field. They're standing not in a vertical line, but in a horizontal line.
And they're holding their helmets up like to salute their opponents.
A
and the other
salute to their former MML rivals from the time they were in diapers.
And Carroll's holding their helmets up begrudgingly. But Talawanda, they're holding their helmets up high. Interesting.
I don't think anybody really knows what to do here. And, again, I would not have any problem with a whole bunch of guys shaking hands right now just because they've been in that close of contact all night anyway. But I think they're probably trying to limit as much of that as humanly possible.
It was basically Talawanda saying good game, and they held their helmets up instead of giving them a fist pump or something like that.
And now comes the Talawanda tradition, Dan. You probably have not seen this, but in the corner of the stadium, way over there, is a victory bell, and I believe they moved that over here from Bowers Field.
Wow.
And so every Talawanda football player or soccer player that wins a game on this field hits the bell on their way walking back into the locker room.
They're ringing the bell.
Every one of them individually gets a ring of the bell to celebrate a Talawanda victory. So we'll be back here in 1 minute after a quick commercial and wrap things up here from Oxford, Ohio. Talawanda Brave 26, Carroll Patriots 6.
We thank you for listening to a live broadcast on the Butler County High School Sports Report's YouTube channel. We encourage you to check out our website at www.bchssreport.com for all your local prep sports results, stories, and student-athlete features. Enjoy the rest of the game.
Hey, this is Talawanda's DeAndre Billfist Reveille, and you're listening to the Butler County High School Sports Reports Radio Network.
Back here from the press box at the Marvin Wilhelm Athletic Complex and wrapping things up here, Joel Sackenheim with Dan Vogt. First game of the season, first game hopefully out of 6 in the books, and it's Talawanda getting a hard-fought, disciplined victory in Week 1 over the Carroll Patriots. Dan, your thoughts on what you saw from Talawanda tonight?
Well, Larry Cox, before the game started, we talked to him, and he said DeAndre Bofus Reveille, hard name to say, but also a hard man to tackle.
Very much so.
I give him the star of the game, but it was just the offensive line for Talawanda, I think, really controlled the game from the outset. They just dictated the line of scrimmage, and they played hard, wore down Carroll. That simple.
Wearing down is definitely the key there. Talawanda will play Harrison next week. Harrison's a very fine team, and that would have been a grass game, but I think, if memory serves me correctly, Harrison has just installed field turf. So Talawanda will have to get ready for more rubber pellets down there. Now, one of the interesting things, Dan, we talk about what guys are playing for besides just being 16-year-olds that want to hit each other.
Yes.
I think, in my opinion, a conference championship means a lot more this year than in previous years.
Yes.
I can remember for years, when Roger Bacon, Purcell, Marion were in the GCL, and Baden could win the GCL Central by beating McNick and Bacon and Purcell, and they finished 4-6 or 5-5. They don't make the playoffs, and they put something up saying the GCL Central champions, and it really doesn't mean a heck of a lot.
Right.
But now in a situation where you are going to make the playoffs,
right,
it doesn't matter. You're going to get in. Now, you can be playing for seeding, but seeding in itself is going to be subjective because it's going to depend on other coaches finding some way to categorize what you're doing and saying, okay, I think you're good, but I really don't know. I mean, 27 coaches in a room. Most of them are not going to be in your conference. For Talawanda's case, it'll be only Edgewood's coach and Harrison's coach in the same room with them. That's 24 other schools potentially that don't know anything about how good Talawanda is or isn't, but they'll look at a 26-6 score over Carroll.
Thank you.
And certainly we're not using the Harbin ratings, but if Carroll wins a few games in the GCL, that'll make this win look all the better, certainly for Talawanda. But I have to think playing a full round-robin schedule in the SWAC.
Yes.
And having your next 5 games all be conference games, I got to think the conference title at least is going to take a little more significant meaning, because it really is something that you can earn and can control all on your own without any subjectivity and without any voting.
I agree with you. The conference will be a key thing this year.
Talawanda will have 5 games coming up, and they're playing Harrison next week. Carroll is going to be on the road playing Chaminade Julienne next week. We're going to look at here a couple stats here before we let you go. And it looks like at first glance here that Talawanda, here's a good stat right off the top, out first downed Carroll by a tally of 16-3. That's a big stat right there. 16 first downs to 3 first downs. It's
and total offensive yards, Joel, Talawanda 358, Carroll 140.
That's, yeah, pretty good. Time of possession here, I don't know that this is completely right. Maybe it is. It looks like Talawanda had 32 minutes out of a 48-minute game of time of possession. 32-24 for Talawanda, 13-18 for the Carroll Patriots.
In Talawanda, 51 rushes, 255 yards. That's 5.0 yards per carry.
If you can get 5 yards a carry, that's going to keep churning a lot of first downs.
They only had to throw the ball, Talawanda, 6 times, completing 3.
There you go. I mean, if you only have to throw it 6 times, and honestly, Carroll fans that are out there listening will kind of chuckle. That's what Carroll was when they first left the MML and came into the GCL. They were a triple option style of offense, but they were very, very heavy rushing when they had runners like Alan Wallach-Kiewitz back in the day, and then some of those other guys. And so throwing the ball only 6 times, that's a good recipe for success for Talawanda.
And another workmanlike game for DeAndre Bothus-Reveille. 16 attempts, 116 yards rushing. That's 7.3 a carry. That's even higher than his 7.0 the entire last year. So he's starting out awesomely.
And looking within the numbers, not just 7.3 yards per carry, 16 rushes, 116 yards, but his long rush for the night was only 19 yards. Wow. Normally when you see a stat line like that, you see some sort of 70-yard breakout where he breaks a tackle, nobody else catches him, and that really tilts the average. But in the case of DeAndre Bothus-Reveille, we're going to say it. DeAndre Bothus-Reveille. Darn it, dude, your name is hard to say, and Danny, I agree, he's harder to tackle. That is as workmanlike as it gets, because it just means that every single time, very, very consistently, not a lot of negative plays when you give the ball to that guy.
Very Le'Veon Bell-like, you know, pausing, juking, and just hitting the line, getting 6, 7, 8 yards a clip.
How about it? So the Talawanda Brave go to 1-0 before they start conference play. Larry Cox, after his first year going 7-3, is going to be 8-3 now as the coach of the Talawanda in his career, his second year here at Talawanda. Very good for them. They go to Harrison next week. Carroll Patriots on to the GCL. It doesn't get any easier for you. You're leaving Talawanda. You're going up to play Chaminade Julienne, the 1 seed in Division III. And I will say this about the GCL co-ed. Other than McNicholas, who is Division 4, the other 5 teams in that conference all are Division III and will most likely shake out to be in the same region. So at least you will have an apples-to-apples comparison of 5 of those schools going up against each other with the conference standings, as the coaches basically have to make the sales pitches for whatever their seating is going to be on that meeting sometime after Week 5, sometime after September the 28th. Dan, we're going to wrap things up. We're glad you guys listened in here in Oxford, Ohio. We're glad we were able to play Week 1, and hopefully nothing goes wrong to prevent Week 2 from being played, right? From our lips to God's ears. So the final score here from Oxford is Talawanda 26, Carroll 6. Good night, everybody.
See ya.
Never pay more when you shop Route 4. Performance Toyota.